The Sporting Chance podcast is brought to you by the King of Tight, Richard Moats at midnightfalconry.com. Go see Richard for the tightest of tight falconry gear.
Definitely don't forget to go see our boy Seth Roy at northmountaingoshawks.com for your next hunting partner this spring.
And also mountainstatefalconrysupply.com. Go see our friend Heather McNeamer for high-quality falconry gear based on the East Coast. So if you need your falconry gear yesterday, drop an order in at mountainstatefalconrysupply.com.
And Heather's a friend of the people. I was just had the opportunity to be up at the New York Falconry Meet and checking out all the raffle items. But one of the most beautiful setups that I saw while we were there was Mountain State Falconry equipment, and she donated a bunch of stuff to be raffled off and made a lot of people happy that day.
She's the best. And let us not forget A Journey with Red Tails by author Bob Glass. Bob is an authority on the subject with decades of experience in falconry. The book is beautiful. It's got to be one of the best looking falconry books I've ever laid my hands on. Check it out at ajourneywithredtails.com. And last but not least, sportingchancepod.com.
Listen, guys, our website is live. We got t-shirts and stickers. Just do me a favor. It's just a very simple favor. If you're enjoying the show, we drop every Monday, give you entertainment and information. If you're having fun and you're enjoying everything that we're doing, just buy a shirt. Not that hard. Go right on. Shipping is quick. Nice shirt, nice merch to wear, a couple stickers to throw on the hawk box. Real simple.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Sporting Chance podcast. We will be joined shortly by Brian Melvin, a bow hunter from New Jersey who set the state record for the largest black bear ever killed. 770 pounds, that bad boy was. That's quite the feat.
Quite the feat. 770 pounds dressed, mind you.
Oh.
Dressed. That means that he shot it, gutted it, and then weighed it.
I wonder how much those guts weighed.
So he was on the show, if you listen, he said that the biologist and the game warden said that you probably could have added another 150 pounds onto that
Wow.
weight, which means he would have crushed the record by even that much more.
But, he wanted to use it. So, it was important to get it gutted as quick as possible to cool it down.
Exactly. And on that point of cooling down, everybody just cool down. Okay?
Cool your jets.
Just cool your jets. Okay. This is a real hunter, a gentleman who respects the land, respects wildlife, wants to put the best foot forward for conservation. And he was able to target a very old, actually a problematic bear. He explains in the episode some situations in neighborhoods where this bear was becoming a problem, not backing down from people, zero fear, bluff charging people, stuff like that. Yes, it's a big, beautiful, majestic animal. But as we discussed on this podcast, bears in this area particularly, they're extremely overpopulated, extremely. So to remove a big old boar, which kills cubs and eats them, which is part of their diet in the wild, remove that big boar from the landscape allows for the rest of the bears to flourish. So let's just take a deep breath. He's not just a trophy hunter. He happened to get a trophy, but he's not necessarily a trophy hunter. He did target this bear specifically because it's the one he wanted, and rightfully so.
Put a lot of effort into getting that bear too.
A lot of effort. He told us stuff off air that he can't talk about because of ongoing investigations from the state, not against him, against people that were attempting to hinder him.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said too much, but it was becoming, he said something similar on the show. It was becoming like a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah,
like
careful.
Trying. But on that subject of trophies, Aaron, question for you. Cause you are more, I'm a little extreme, right? You're a little bit,
We know that about you.
Yeah, you're a little bit more measured, right? You're a little bit more, you're a reader, you're a scholar and a gentleman. I'm a little bit more rough around the edges. So stuff that I think would be okay, you may not think is okay. And you did push back on him a little bit and asked him some good questions, which I thought was great. But I have a question for you. If you've never caught a prairie chicken and you load up all your birds, all your dogs, and you drive across the country and you go out to prairie chicken habitat and your peregrine, your goshawk, if that's even possible, it's probably very difficult to do with a goshawk, smokes a prairie chicken, is that considered a trophy?
To me, it is.
Well, are you now a trophy hunter because you killed a prairie chicken?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. Somebody from out west who does not have gray squirrels, they may consider a gray squirrel a trophy if they come to the East Coast and catch one.
Right. So everybody just cool your jets, because our community seems to be a little bit sensitive to this kind of thing, and which is fine. And we should be. We should be skeptical of people killing for sport, killing for fun, having zero respect for their quarry, and the carcasses after the fact, and not respecting it. I have a big problem with that. I'm rough around the edges, but I will never let anything go to waste. I may or may not have pulled over and grabbed a carcass of an animal yesterday and threw it in my truck because I there's no way that pelt cannot be used. It's just disrespectful to leave it lying on the side of the road. And it was 27 degrees the night before. It was in the morning. I said, it was definitely killed last night. And I called my buddy and I said, do you want to put this with your stash? And he said, sure, hell yeah, I'm not going to leave that. So waste not, want not, as they say.
As they say.
So, yeah, this is a guy who is obsessed with hunting, obsessed with conservation, does everything he can to put the best foot forward, and he really made a good representation of big game hunters on the show. And yeah, I think you guys are going to get a kick out of it. It's pretty cool. And yeah, it's not falconry related, but it's
he has some great tips for falconers about land access. So stay tuned.
Some say the best tip you could actually have ever. It's a no-brainer, people. Listen to the show.
Agreed. I'm working on getting it myself.
Yes, he sent me the link to the thing you can get. We don't want to give anything away because we want you guys to listen. If we tell you now, you're just gonna, all right, I got the tip. I got the nugget of goodness. But this guy gets access on all different properties, all different kinds of people, based off of this one strategy that he has, and he adds it into his repertoire.
You know what? Haters will say it isn't real.
It is in fact real. I looked at the website. You can register yourself on this website and it will almost always get you access on somebody's property.
What is the meme online? It's like, check out this one simple trick this hunter uses for land access. Haters will say it isn't real.
Yeah. Or it's like something that's clearly fake, and then they'll put it there and they'll say, haters will say this is fake, but it's like very obviously fake, So stupid. But this is in fact real. It is not fake. And if you listen to the episode, it's midway through. Actually, maybe it's in the beginning. Maybe it's at the end. You never know.
Who knows?
Who knows where it is? But it's great, and I'm gonna add it in because number one, it protects you, it protects the landowner, and it protects our sport.
Enjoy. Welcome to the Sporting Chance podcast. I am Aaron Kincaid.
And I'm Casey Everett.
And today we are joined by our new friend, Brian Melvin. Thanks for coming on,
guys.
Brian.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, man. Just so for the listeners who don't know, can you just give them just a little backstory on who you are, and then we can ease into the main reason why we're here. But it looks like you have a pretty cool background to begin with. So let's talk about that a little bit just to start.
Sure. Yeah. So New Jersey boy here. And I didn't. A lot of people have asked me in recent times about my hunting history and so forth. I did not come from a hunting family, as per a lot of people do now in the hunting industry. I actually kind of came up through the hard knocks, if you will, of kind of screwing up a lot and learning a lot on my own. A lot of stuff you see behind me are the animals I've chased with the bow. We'll get into that a little bit, but
yes.
Early on, I started off kind of bird hunting through a family friend and teacher who kind of got me into the hunting world, and introduced me around 10 years old into bird hunting. That was my gateway drug into it. And then slowly proceeded to get into some bow hunting in my early 20s, then turned into a complete addiction, chasing some big bucks, a couple of them back there behind, again, all Jersey bucks behind me right now, all with the bow. And then it progressed into some other things, into waterfowl, which we do a ton now. And obviously into some bear hunting, which is why, we're talking now. We'll get into that whole story later. But the progression has definitely started a little different than a lot of people in the hunting industry. Again, I don't have anybody in my family that hunts. Everybody chases the little white ball, plays golf. I'm the black sheep by far, and it's pretty funny now when everyone's around, because I'm the only one that they're popping questions, and of course the crazy story that happened with the bear. Now everyone that's been around me for years in the family, maybe I want to get into it now. Okay, whatever you want to do. But no, my journey is a little different than a lot of other people's, but it's been a lot of fun. I learned a lot and screwed up a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I feel like that's almost it's almost better in some ways. I mean, it's nice to have a mentor, but when you kind of have to do it on your own, you really can kind of just really solidify your skills and just hone it in.
Hey, I always say, if you're not messing up, you're not learning. And it definitely, I would love to, I try and help people out now and being a mentor for a lot of people that are starting off in the sport. It's tough if you're starting off and you have nobody to bounce ideas off of. Nowadays with podcasts or the YouTube, it's definitely, a very beautiful resource for people to move forward into the sport. 20 years ago, not so easy. You kind of had to get out there and just boots on the ground and do it. So, but being a mentor for people is definitely something I really enjoy, now bringing people into the sport as often as I can.
Okay. I have it's a random scenario, but I want your opinion. I want your opinion on it, because you have a lot of experience in the hunting industry. And my brother is a fanatical bow hunter like you. He just killed I think he did just like a rough scoring, the 140, give or take 148, something like that.
Great buck.
Yeah, in Jersey. And
nice.
Took, the whole deal, took his socks off, crawled up to it, and put an arrow through it. He's killed, I think he killed a 200, 180s, 170s. No, yeah, he's a psychopath. He's a psychopath.
200s. No, we're talking antlers, not not weight, right?
No, yeah, antlers. Yeah, we're talking antlers.
200's no joke, man. That's
no. It was no. I think it was I think it was 200. I'm not 100%. I mean, it's just you go into his basement and he's just got like shoulder mounts and Euro mounts, and he's just awesome. Like, and his work schedule allows him to sneak in the morning, roll into the office late, and sneak out early, then roll back.
Me too.
And no, he switched to a saddle, which I kind of like, and I went through that phase too. I killed, I think it's probably a 130 on my nice. above my mantle. It's a nice, killed this bear behind me.
I love it.
So a story from my brother on that note. He took a friend of his to one of his good spots for bear hunting in Jersey. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then his good friend says, "Hey, you want to go back to that spot? It's going to be a good night." He says, "Yeah, let's go." Rolls into the parking lot. It was more of like a trailhead. They had like a roundabout way of getting in. Sure. And there's another car in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. And it's my brother's friend's friend. And he just gets out and starts putting his gear on. And my brother gets out and he's like, "All right." And he wasn't going to be rude, but he's like, "All right, what's going on here?" He goes, "Yeah, I figured, so-and-so can come along."
Oh,
and what do you think happens?
Yeah, that's not good.
So-and-so puts the arrow in the 400 pounder, in the 400 pounder. Yeah. So he called me because me and just like you, we didn't grow up in a hunting background. My dad drove a bus for 15 hours a day and was never around. And we got into it separately of him. We had a good mentor. And he showed us some of the ropes, but a lot of it we figured out on our own in a really, really funny stories that we'll tell, in another episode. And he called me and he's like, "I don't know how to feel about this. Like, what do I say?" What would you do? Like, how do you feel about that story? Just hearing it off the top. What's your initial thoughts?
Hunting etiquette is a big part of the game itself, right? So it's a matter of spots. Never mind bear spots, deer spots, waterfowl spots. They're all the same in the concept of there's a huge part that you don't share with other people unless you've been told you can, or that person told you, "Yeah, hey, listen, you asked, hey, can I bring this guy?" He says, "Sure." You don't show up. to someone else's spot with somebody else, that is like no.
To no,
My
right?
yeah, it's a huge no. My circle's small, and it's small for a reason.
Yeah.
Once you lose a spot, once people get it, once it's out there, you never get it back. So it's really hard, and you got to keep and it's terrible in the concept that we all want to like share information, and hunters love to share and stories and all that stuff. It's all part of the game, right? But at the same time, you have to keep a little piece to yourself, just because of the way it is right now in the world. We're losing land faster.
Yeah.
It's harder to get spots. So yeah, that's a big no. My guys, we all know that our mouths never come open. Anyone asks where we shot something outside of again, the reason I'm on here, everybody knows where I shot that bear, and we'll talk about it later. But like literally, the bear's not there anymore. I don't care. There's nothing else there that I'm chasing. That's fine. But situations like you're just saying, yeah, you don't show up. If one of my guys did that, there's no second chances.
Would you address it in the moment, or would you play it cool like my brother did?
Oh no, it would be addressed immediately. We're not going into the stand.
He would shoot him with an arrow.
100%.
Yeah, my brother.
No.
Yeah, and like my brother. So just a little quick. This is part of the story. Is he works for a church, and the guy that came is like extremely wealthy guy, hunts in Africa. He's just getting into it, and he's just throwing money,
Okay.
And he's just going on these hunts, killing all this stuff, and like he doesn't really know. And when my brother did, because I said, dude, you got to say something. He's like, yeah, you're right. I got to say something. So he texted him, and he just said, listen, like, I'm not. I just want to let you know I didn't feel very comfortable with that situation, especially because my brother like scouted the spot out, looking at trails, like setting it all up with the wind. And then this guy just goes in the stand and just puts an arrow through it. And he didn't even help him drag it out. My brother was like, I was so mad. He's like, I don't know what I was going to do if I went over there. He's like, I had to check myself because I'm like, I work for a church. If I go over there and I have a temper or I say something stupid, it's not going to look good. So I'm just going to, hey guys, I'm going to stay in the stand and just sit it out till dark.
Smart.
And then the guy, then the guy comes back with, oh, well, it's public property. I don't know why that would be an issue. He pulled one of those. I said, bro, the last time you hunt with that guy. He's like, I think so.
He obviously just doesn't understand the situation, which is A, you can say he's a little naive, but B, his buddy, I don't know his buddy. I don't know how experienced he is. He should have known better.
Yeah, he should have known better. Yeah. So, okay, good. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a no-go, man.
One little scenario I wanted your opinion on.
Could you imagine if he was like, nah, man, I don't get why he was upset.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I figured he'd have a good response just like that because and so just for you, just so you know, this podcast is it's a falconry based podcast, but we interview all kinds of different people. We had Kirk Price on, him.
That's cool.
We had Kirk on. We're trying to go on a hunt with him in December, so we're working out the dates. So we're gonna go out there and do a hunt with him.
Very cool.
I do a lot of big game hunting. Aaron doesn't have a lot of time really extra to do anything else but with the birds.
That's so cool.
So, but we wanted to we like to interview cool outdoorsmen, guys that are doing cool stuff, and a bunch of people actually sent me I think at least 25, maybe 30 people sent me. Because where I live in Warwick is right next to Vernon.
Yes.
Okay, Vernon is, as we know, infested with bears. It's out of control with bears. Like my dogs, I got dachshunds. They're going in brush piles.
Yep.
Big bears are coming out in January. Hibernating.
I know Vernon well. Yep.
Yeah, if you want bears, they're everywhere. I was on my way to the gym. I jumped out of the car in my shorts. In the summer, I ran up to a bear in the middle of the field, little guy. I'm filming them, and I'm like,
yep.
So many bears. It's out of control.
So many bears. People don't realize what we have.
So everybody that listens to the podcast, they're sending it, and they're like, "You got to get this guy on. You got to get him on." So then it took me a minute to find you, and then once I found you, you answered me like the same night. You're like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, I'll come on."
Absolutely, love it, man.
And I was like, "Yes."
I looked at your podcast. It was you guys looked like you did some cool stuff, and falconry. I know nothing about, completely zero, completely green, but it looks like an awesome sport. So I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So you had a different kind of a upbringing in the hunting industry, or just in hunting in general.
Yeah,
it seems as though bird hunting, right, Aaron? We had another person on that said that the bird hunting was what got them involved too. It's like
absolutely.
It's like an easy entry level, not easy, but
But no, it is. It's an easier entry level. You can get into it as a kid. You can get into it as a young adult with like the least amount of commitment. You don't need a lot of money to get into it. You don't have to worry about scent. You can be talking. You walk with the dogs, all that good stuff, which is a nice segue into the hunting environment versus getting a kid or a person for the first time to go sit in a tree stand for 4 hours and freeze their ass off. And they're like, I'm never doing this again. Right.
Yeah. That's almost like, I've countless sits, not seeing a single animal, not even a squirrel. And
Really?
And I'm sure you've dealt with it, sitting in the tree stand and freezing your feet off, and there's nothing comes by, and you're like, why am I even doing this? And then, but once you put an arrow through something or you blast, oh man, it just makes it all worth it.
Work is worth it.
So I think we should address the elephant in the room, or the record-breaking bear in the room.
Let's do it.
Let's touch on that, and then we'll get into like some of the other stuff that you do. So. Sure. You are on the show. You're a cool, interesting person, number one. And number two, you killed a record-breaking bear in Jersey, which is a state that I fly my birds at every day. I was in Jersey today flying my birds. And I run into bears constantly. So it's so cool that you took a nice big bear off the landscape. So talk us through it. Just start
from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll start from the very beginning. So it's been a 3-year journey. Late season. 3 years ago, basically was out scouting an area that I had known and been given some information about some pretty good sized bears. Didn't know specifically about this bear at that given point in time, but got to the area, was running some cameras and got him on camera, and he was significant even 3 years ago, right? So he was, I obviously have no idea what he was, but he was in the 6s or 7s 3 years ago, let's say. Knew immediately. I was like, wow, all right, that's a monster. Was running a lot of other cameras, other places, but he was by far the biggest. Once I got into the area and started trying to pick up some properties and talking to a lot of the locals and people that lived right there, because he lived pretty close to houses. Like this isn't like we were, talking about Vernon, where there's a lot of big woods. This isn't necessarily an area that has a lot of big woods. It has some woods, a couple state parks and so forth, but he stayed very close to houses. So talking to the people that had interactions with him all the time, I knew that he was a pretty interesting bear, or special bear to say. Size-wise, the way he behaved, he didn't back down from anything. He bluffed people back into his house all the time. He was destroying things in people's backyards, chasing dogs, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. He just didn't care about anything. He was the boss. I mean, walking down the road, he looked like a VW. It was ridiculous. But so that was so it started then. That was my obsession. It literally just began. I was like, all right, let me see if I could pattern this bear and see what's going on. That began the journey of trying to get this thing obviously harvested, which has happened this year, and now all the mistakes that happened before that. If you ever chase big bears, if you've never really done it, you will be humbled. They're incredible. They're super smart. They're 15, to 20 years old. Some of them they've seen everything, right? You chase a big buck, that's 5-6 years old. Now dump 10 years on that. Imagine how much wisdom they get, right? So right. Knowing all that, started 3 years ago, got the picture, started baiting that area for the season 2 seasons ago. Once the season I got to about 6 weeks before the season, started patterning him, and thought I was building a pretty decent pattern on him. He was daylighting relatively regular. He was staying in a pretty decent area. And then all of a sudden he did what big bears do and just vanished on me. And he did that 3 times in a 4 to 5 weeks period, where he would jump a half a mile or a mile away, 1,000 yards away, for no apparent reason other than he just didn't like what I was doing. Maybe I was walking on a trail too much. Maybe I wasn't baiting enough. Maybe I was baiting too much. For whatever reason, he just be gone. I'd have to go find him again. Knock on doors, get permission on private property, go check on state parks. I was running close to 30 cameras.
Jeez.
I was running baits everywhere. I was just trying to figure out where he was, what he was doing, how I could stay on him, right? And
what are you using for bait?
So that's the $10,000 question, everybody. Right. You know how many text messages I got on that?
Yeah.
So I'll break it down to 2 big things. Where guys screw up, and I find a lot, and I've been running baits for a little while now, is you need to keep baits fresh, and you have to keep them in 2 different types. A lot of guys just go, oh, they want donuts, they want sweets, we're going to run barrels. That's great. All good. But if you get a lot of bears or big bears in an area and you run big baits, we consider those big baits, they don't last long. Like a half a barrel, a full barrel will last 24 to 48 hours. If you have 3 or 4 bears in an area, it's gone. you have to have some kind of granular bait, whether it be corn, which is a lot of guys do, but it's not super enticing to them. I prefer a custom mixed trail blend that I have made up. Kelsey Burgess is a guy who runs huge bear baits for New Jersey. He supplies them.
Love Kelsey.
You know? Kelsey's the man.
Kelsey is the man. I went on a bear researching.
Awesome.
When I went to take my falconry test when I was 13.
Yeah.
He was in the office next door. My mom, I told this story on this podcast. My mom walked right in his office. She said, "My children are homeschooled. I'm learning about they're in biology class. I want them to come on a research with you." And he says, "Well, we don't do that." She said, "Well, you're going to do it." And a couple of weeks later, she's good. She's recovering from it. She's all right. Just watch her. Make sure she's gonna, walk off into the woods. We're gonna go check the next site. Me and my brother are standing there in our teens watching this mama bear wake up and bluff charge us and clap our hands. Man. And I got bears on my shoulder, and me and my brother holding them up on the scale, tattooing the mouth. Kelsey is the man. I love that guy.
He's so great, man. He's got a lot of knowledge too, but he's an awesome resource for guys that are running baits, and people don't know him. Need to get a hold of him. He runs out of Well Mills over by Port Murray. But yeah, he was putting together a really nice mix for me and a bunch of other guys that were picking up their mixes. I mean, it's not cheap. I don't even want to say how much I spent because my fiance's listening. But
right,
come on, it was a lot.
It was worth it.
It was worth it. It was thousands of pounds of just the trail mix plus my connections with the baits. Easily over 5,000 pounds for the 4 or 5 weeks right before the
season.
And that was just on that bait. Never mind the 6 or the 4 others that I was running in the other area. Big baits.
Okay.
So big baits, small baits, whatever you want them to be, they have to be fresh. That's another big thing people screw up. They'll put out 100 pounds of donuts and then it rains and then they just sits there for 2 weeks and it starts to go moldy and they don't clean them up. Bears are picky. They don't want to lay in it. They don't want to go to it. It's got to keep it fresh. That's another thing a lot of guys screw up. But keeping big baits and keeping a granular bait just to give your bait a little longevity, right? So that granular bait will last you 3-4 days so you can get into bait. Everyone's got life, family, work. If you can't keep your baits going, get something that gets them to last longer. That's what a granular bait will do. I was running baits every day because I'm a little bit of a nut job and it was just out there just doing it. Yeah. But the granular baits help a lot. The trail mix is amazing. It also helps out with their stomach.
Right. It's the protein. My beehives got raided at a certain time of the year and everybody that I talked to said, I'm like, "Oh, they want the honey." They're like, "What do you eat?" They're not getting the honey. They want the larva inside the.
Yes.
They're getting that protein.
Winnie the Pooh hit your.
Yeah. People underestimate that concept because I see a lot of guys that run a big baits and all this sweet stuff, and then you walk through the woods and there's diarrhea everywhere. And these I swear it's like piles of it. It's disgusting.
Like
yeah. But if you run
every day,
that's terrible.
No, I'm just kidding.
If you run a good protein source like a peanuts or whatever the nut source, it keeps them bound up. They can sit on the baits for days without actually getting, it sounds silly, but getting stomach aches. But it's true. I've seen it happen.
Interesting. So, how far in advance ideally are you starting your baits? Ideally you locate the bear.
Yeah.
How far in advance are you saying, okay, I gotta get this bear in a routine here. I gotta start baiting X.
8 to 6 weeks.
8 to 6 weeks. You want him patterned.
If I can't, like a bear like that, he jumped on me. So last year, I haven't finished the story yet, but I'll get back to it.
Sorry.
It's all right. We'll get into it. Yeah, it's 8 to 6 weeks gives you a lot of time, but you have to do things a certain way. You can overbait an area. If you don't keep it clean and it gets really nasty, they're going to push off. They're just going to go to another bait site. Because as you get closer to the season, guys are putting baits everywhere, right? That last week before the season, it's insanity. There's just 200 baits around you.
Right.
They just pop up everywhere. So you have to distinguish yourself somehow. But yeah, I like to start that usually the 6 week mark. This guy, I was baiting a little bit more, but I was being pretty selective. But I'll explain that. I'll jump back into it. So 3 years, found him on camera, stayed on him as much as I could in that short period before the second, before 2 years season ago, got him 6 weeks before the season last year, was on pattern all the way up to the season. Again, I explained I lost him like 3 times, but I kept finding him and I was able to keep patterning him. In New Jersey, people don't know you can bait your bears, but you cannot hunt over your bait. You either have to clean your site up, make sure there's no bait on the ground, and then you can hunt over it, or you have to get 100 yards or more away from your bait site. So you basically pattern the bears to and from their beds, get on their travel corridors, and hunt it that way. So I was able to do all of that last year, had him pinned. I was a little bit too confident. And I thought for sure he was hours during the day on the bait, just sleeping on the bait, never left. And then he would vanish on me, and then he'd do it again. I'd find him again, he'd do it again. The morning of opener, 6:30 in the morning, he wakes up, nibbles on the bait, and walks away till May. Never came back.
Wow.
Never could find him. I spent days, could not find him. I think I know now where he went, and I couldn't get access to that whole area, but didn't matter. Back in May, he shows back up on one of my cameras, back in one of the original spots I found him. He stays there for 2 weeks. Then he disappears again. I'm like, this bear's driving me nuts. Let me go find him again. Then I go a little crazier. I actually get some permission on some private properties about a mile away, and that's where he ended up. He liked to be in these nasty little swamps. Where he ended up was actually a smaller piece compared to some of the big tracts that guys are looking at, 500 acres, 200 acres, whatever. He actually ended up in a little 6 or 8 acre little swamp that was surrounded by houses, and he was transitioning to a 30-acre swamp just across a road every day, just going back and forth. There were other guys in the area that were baiting as well. A couple of guys that know about him, dealt with some issues with some other hunters doing some, let's call it unsavory things to undermine me or push me out of the area. But it's all gravy now. It's all done. He's at the taxidermist, which doesn't matter, right? Yeah. It's all good now. So I found him in the little swamp and was able to pattern him moving to the big swamp where I had my baits. I didn't want to put the baits in the small swamp because I knew that's where his bedding was. I didn't want to get tight. I didn't want to blow him out of there. So I used the big property, or bigger property, it was only 30 acres, to transition him back and forth. Was able to pattern him. He would literally cross a road every single day. That is not a super busy, like 4-lane highway, but a pretty active road that a lot of people travel down every day. He would cross it only in the mornings, and he would daylight on my bait for the first 15 minutes. He'd be on the bait early morning, 3, 4 in the morning. He'd leave. He'd come back at 5:30. He'd stay there till 6:30 and walk across the road at 6:45, 7 o'clock, somewhere in there. That was my only window of daylight that he would give me. I figured if I can get him on that bait and slip in behind him on his travel corridor on the other property across the road, that would be my chance of him coming back across and have a shot. So that was the plan from get-go, right? Of course, big bears doing big bear things. I did not want to go into that small piece and scout it and basically try and almost push him out. Because times before, I've been into his home area or where he was moving a lot, and maybe I walked on his trail too many times and he just vanished on me, right? I told you that he just jumped on me 3 or 4 times for no apparent reason. Nothing happened. I know he didn't get shot at. It wasn't a season. He just was gone, doing what big bears do. So I didn't want that to happen. I never went into that small piece, not once. I literally scouted it from 2 roadsides with binoculars, trying to pick out trees, checking his trail, seeing where he was moving. I mean, when he walked through the woods, it looked like an elephant had walked through the woods, right? It was just ridiculous. I mean, prints that I could send you pictures to that they're massive. So I had that idea. I had the pattern going. Now I needed 2 things to happen. I needed him to stay on bait, and I needed to pressure from the other hunters to not push him off his pattern. And I needed the right wind. He never, ever approached a bait pile with the wrong wind. If it was the wrong wind, he just never came to the bait that day. So again, big bears doing big bear things, right? And so I knew I only had one shot at a northwest wind, which was allowing him to cross the road with the wind hitting his back. He liked that northwest wind coming across the road. He had it in his face, but when he came back across the road, it had to stay in northwest wind, and I would be able to slip in behind him and get in there, which is what ended up happening. However, the plan didn't go exactly as we always want to, right? So the 6 weeks prior, he'd always done the exact same thing. He'd come across, he'd walk down that trail, he'd go to bed, he'd do the next thing the next day, blah, 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 blah. Of course, the morning that I decide to go, the season starts on Monday of the week before, northwest winds for 6 days straight. Monday, southwest. I'm like, okay, I can't hunt Monday. Not going in. Tuesday morning, I wait to get my pictures of him on the bait at 3 o'clock in the morning. I get the pictures. I know he's hitting the bait. I wait a little longer to make sure he's staying across the road. I get a picture at 4 o'clock. I'm already in my truck, heading out, got my climber, ready to rock. Head over there, jump into the woods at a little after 4, stay upwind of his trail. I don't want to walk over his trail. I don't want him to have any inkling that I'm even alive. cruise in, get in about 30, 40 yards in. Because again, this is not a huge patch and it's mostly swamp. So there's only a little timber between the swamp edge and the roads. Got in about 30, 40 yards, picked a tree out in the dark. I don't have shooting lanes. I don't know what tree I'm going to be in when I'm in there. So I had to do it all with a headlamp. It ended up being great, but I'll be honest, it's not the best move. It's not your perfect scenario, but I would rather take that shot than go in there and blow him out. So when I got in there, I started climbing up, trying to get up to my 15, 18 feet normal height, whatever you want to do. Realized I got too high. I'm in a swamp. I got a canopy below me and I got a canopy above me, and I had to sit between them. As I was getting too high, I noticed it was closing in on me and I was losing all my shooting lanes. So I had to come back down to only 10 feet, which is like nothing.
That's nothing.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
nothing. So I'm like, all right, this is just where it has to be. I'm trying to pick out lanes with the headlamp. I got like 2 lanes at 22 yards on his trail. I'm like, all right, if he's anywhere in this realm, I got this. No good. I mean, we're all good. He's on the bait. I'm watching. I'm literally taking pictures every 30 seconds on my camera. Like he's sitting there and I'm just like, he's still there. He's still there. 6:52, which I posted on my page. That's the last picture I got of him walking off the bait. I'm like, all right, this is it. He's either coming straight at me or he's going somewhere else and I'll never see him again because he's made me look like a fool so many times. Watched him get right to the road edge and stop in the brush and wait and watch the cars and wait until they all waited for they were at an earshot, and then he just scurried right across the road, got into the woods, and then stopped his little trot and started walking down his trail. And what people always say, and I've talked to so many people since, that big bears have like a sixth sense. He got 15 yards into the woods and just put the brakes on. Oh, I had a perfect 10-mile-an-hour wind hit me square in the face. No way he winded me. Not a chance. Never. He stopped and just didn't move for like 3 minutes. I'm like, there's no way. Longest 3 minutes here. I was like, there's no way. I'm up. I was perfect. I'm like, he just has to walk. And he stopped. It was about 35 yards from me at that point, but he was completely covered in brush. I'm like, he's just got to clear like another 10 yards and I'm golden. And well, he doesn't. He stops and literally just makes a 90-degree and starts walking away from me.
No.
So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So he just angles. He gets about 15 yards farther away. And he just angles just enough away from me on an angle, like a quartering away. And he's now at 40 yards. And I'm ranging the whole time. It's daylight. It's enough I'm seeing. I got one window at 45 and I have another window at 60. I'm like, well, if I can get him stopped in the 45, that's a pretty good shot. It was like a 2.5 foot window between some saplings. I'm like, all right, I got that. No problem. He stops in the 45. I didn't have to stop him. He stopped himself. I don't know why. Whatever. Fantastic. Quartering away, and I slipped one in there, hit its mark. I'll be honest. I didn't. When I hit him, I knew I hit him. I saw the blood coming. I'm like, oh man, I just 10 ringed him. Like, we're golden.
Yeah.
And he soaked it up and walked away. And I'm like, what? There's no way. Well, he walked 100 yards. I watched him cross the road, go up a rock bluff, and just disappear. I'm like, he never came out the top of it. I didn't see him come out. I'm like, I know he's right there. Get down out of the tree. I meet up with my best friend. We run up there. The blood trail is just epic. I mean, it's across the road, like someone dragged a paint can right into the woods.
Perfect.
You don't have to do anything. We walked right up to him. He was still alive, but he couldn't move. Put a second arrow in him, and he went another 40 yards, and he was done. When I got up to him, we got our hands on him. Then I realized he had 9 inches of fat on either side of his body, and he was 8.5, 9 feet long. I mean, thing was like, it was Godzilla. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I made great penetration. The arrow went straight up to the fletching, but it was just it's a behemoth. So it was just a matter of making that. He was going to expire right there, but I don't want an animal to suffer. So we put another one in him and called it a day.
Good for you. Was it when? So I've blood trailed a couple bears. Is it nerve wracking for you? Because maybe I'm just like, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm just a lesser man, but I get a little nervous.
There was one patch that we had to go through about shoulder high brush. And I knew he had gone up there, but not come out. And you never know if they double back or whatever it is. And I'm like, we're on good blood. I'm like, this bear's either dead or literally dying right now. There's no way he's alive. He's just losing too much blood. And absolutely, yeah, man, I'm puckered the whole way through the grass.
Yeah.
There's just there's no way around it. You see an animal like that coming through the woods and you're tracking it and you can only see 4 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
If you're lying, if you're saying you're not nervous, I don't care who you are.
And you can't carry a sidearm in Jersey, right? Unless you're,
if you have a CCW, you can. but I don't know the concept of he crossed into private property. And at that point, I did not have permission to go into that private property. I had to go talk to the landowners. So there's no way I was carrying a sidearm or any of that stuff. Again, it's 8:00 in the morning on a Tuesday morning. Parents are taking their kids out to go to school and all that stuff. Right. So it was, and there's this guy walking up. Hey, I just shot a bear, ran across your front, right between your properties. There was a big grass like hedgerow that ran between these two nice houses. He went up into the mountain. And both homeowners were very courteous, and they're like, "Yeah, go ahead, go get it, no problem." And he actually expired up on another property owner's on the top of the mountain, and he was awesome. He was phenomenal. He loved it. He was like, "Oh, that's the biggest bear I've ever even seen. I'm from Alberta. This is insane."
Wow! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was pretty epic. And walking up, I mean, we knew he was big, and then when we got to him, I was like, "Oh boy, that's bigger than we thought."
Yeah, the pictures are absolutely incredible. I mean, that thing is a beast. I mean, I've seen some big ones around my house messing with the garbage. That makes them look like cubs, man. That thing is huge.
He was big. I wish I would have gotten better picture, like some hero pictures. We couldn't move him. We didn't have enough guys at that point to really adjust him, and he died on a big slope. So, which helped us get him out because we were able to get him in that big. You've seen the sled picture and stuff. We got him right into the sled, and we were able to slide him down the mountain to the truck, which helped. But for pictures, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
We got some pictures once we got him out, and I had to make the decision. It was starting to get warm that morning. It was getting up into the 60s. The check station wasn't opening till 9:00. And I knew once I got to the check-in station, it was probably going to turn into a little bit of a circus. Right. So, and if you've shot some bears and you shoot some big bears, you got like an hour, maybe 2 before they start to spoil.
Yeah.
And you got to get them out. And so people were like, "What are you talking about? You got to bring that thing in whole. You got to find out what it was." I'm like, "Guys, it's a big bear. It's a huge bear. We know it's huge, but I'm not losing the animal. There's no way."
Yeah.
So we got him out, and I've caught a lot of flack for that, but it would be a decision I'd make 100 times over. So
yeah, no, and I got 2 questions. Aaron, do you have any questions? I have.
Yeah, well, I was gonna ask how he got it out because I couldn't imagine, but exactly how big was the bear?
So he was 770 gutted. And they're giving me a rough estimate somewhere between 880 and 910 for live weight.
And it still broke the record gutted.
Yeah. Blew it away.
So it would have blew it away even more so.
The world record is 7 for archery, for weight, not for skull, right? Let me be clear with that. Weight, not skull, is 780 not gutted.
Wow.
So how old do you think the bear was?
I mean, I have... Right. So I have 3 years of history. I know guys that chased him for years before that told me stories and all kinds of stuff. So I can definitely say like 6 to 8, but I cannot confirm anything after that. They pulled a tooth. I will have all that information as soon as the state gets it back. They're telling me they're not going to have it for a while. It'll be probably in the spring or summer right then. Once I get all information, I'll do a whole big post and let everybody know what it is because I'm dying to know myself.
Yeah.
When I got the information, a couple of conversations I've had before this one, and that I got all the meat back, the butcher's like, he had 22s in him. He had an old arrow wound in him. He had all kinds of birdshot. He had all kinds of stuff in him. So he had been shot like crazy.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So we knew about a huge scar down his left leg, and that's why we called him Scar. Was very noticeable. But that was from the butcher told me that was from a big arrow wound from years that went to the bone. So he was just a warrior. He was just an absolute monster. He was missing teeth, missing one of his canines. I'm getting the skull back this week. But it was a giant, man. He was a giant.
I want to ask a question. I got a feeling Casey's not going to like it.
Go ahead.
Is there... And I'm not insinuating anything or telling you should feel this way, but I'm curious, is there any part of you that felt remorse when you saw him dead?
Every time you shoot an animal. Absolutely. You'd be lying if you're not. I'm very appreciative of the sport and appreciative of taking the animal. When you close a chapter like that on an animal, whether it be a deer, a bear, whatever you're chasing, there's always that, that bittersweetness, if you will, to the end of the journey. We need to check the population in New Jersey. It's part of the situation. Bear like that was causing some problems. So there's not, remorse. I'm not going to say, I'm sorry for doing it. No, but an appreciation to a point of which I am very aware I took a life, and I'm very aware I took a really, really special animal. 100%.
Yeah. Well said.
That was a good question.
Yeah, you think so?
No, it was all right. It was a little fruity, but it was a good question.
Casey thinks I need it. Casey was telling me this weekend that I need to start taking some testosterone supplements.
He said we were out in the
He said
field.
I'm soft.
We were out in the field hunting, and we had a little situation that needed taken care of. And he made a little comment. I looked at him. I said, "Dude, you gotta go get your levels checked, bro. Go to the doctor." I said, "Of course we're gonna shoot it. What are you out of your mind?"
Oh, that's great. Uh-oh. A little CRT. All right.
I don't remember I don't remember exactly what I said. Do you remember?
You said, "No, actually, we can't say what we said because we were doing some dog training, and
I was just making a realistic statement about what was going on, and it didn't stop me from doing it, right? But
all right,
you know what I mean? It was just I just got to be honest. But yeah, to your point, Brian, I totally get like I have zero. Trying to think of the words for this. I would do what you did for sure, right? Well, actually, let me rephrase that. I couldn't do it to the level that you did it. But if I was hunting bears and I had the opportunity to shoot something like that, I would do it. But there's a big part of me that when I saw it dying, I'd be like, man, it's kind of sad. It's the end of this is the end for this 100%. Really unique, special animal.
Absolutely. It should be like that. If it's not, you're missing a little part of it because there's the appreciation and the weight of taking a life, no matter however you're doing it. So I think like that way.
For those 100%. Of us that do it, we're compelled to do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're utilizing, you said you brought it to the butcher, so I'm assuming you're going to utilize everything.
Got over almost 265 or 70 pounds of meat. That's all processed. I got 50 pounds of sausage or 40 pounds of sausage. We got all chopped meat. We got the loins. I got everything, including that. I donated all the almost 200 pounds of the fat that's being turned into this crate. I didn't know.
No, you can't donate the fat. You got to get the fat to me.
No, so
that's the best.
Did you? I didn't even know the bear fat market for the freaking soap is ridiculous.
Soap?
Oh my God.
You donated for soap? You got to donate for bear grease, man, to get my pan nice and juicy for my eggs in the morning.
I kept some of it for myself. Good. Don't get me wrong. But there's a huge, like, you hear this whole thing, the beef tallow soap and all this stuff. Yeah. It's the same thing. Tallow's fat, right? So people are going nuts for it. I had no idea. The lady that's making it is awesome. Her name's Robin. She's big in New Jersey, big in the hunting community. And she's sending me all these pictures of everything she's making. I'm like, it's amazing. Like, that's what it's all about. We're utilizing the entire animal, which is something I was a big proponent for. That I did some interviews on some radios during the whole backlash that I got, which was heavy, expected.
Yeah.
Did not expect it to get to the point in which it did. It got a little nutty. I'm all for everyone having their own opinions. I'm all for being able to voice those opinions. As soon as you go into the concept of wanting to harm somebody because you don't agree with what they did, now you lose me, right? That's where you lose me.
Yeah. Can we talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind? I mean, if it's a touchy subject, we don't have to.
No, we could talk about it. I mean, it's all part of it. The awareness should be there. Anyone that's getting into this sport or any of the hunting concept, you're going to have some pushback somewhere and some conversations at some point in your life. So it's good to air it out. The bear subject, New Jersey, has always been, very sensitive, and it's definitely has not changed. This probably brought it up a notch just because of the level of the animal and how much people really dove into it. But yeah, it got crazy. That first maybe week and a half, social media blew up. That went nuts.
Yeah.
Those messages were nutty. I mean, people are just crazy. The things they were sending me, those didn't bother me that much. I mean, it's keyboard warriors that are sending me stupid messages. I could care less. Like, you're in your mom's basement and you're mad at me. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay. But the calls to my house, the calls on my cell phone, people showing up at my parents' house, telling me they're going to kill my kid. Like, that's where that's where you lose me, right? That's not okay. That got a little nuts. Wasn't a fan of that. That was handled. People trying to find out where I work, where my fiance works, trying to show up, and it was over the top. That got crazy. That has smoothed out. Done some interviews prior to that where I was trying to explain to people that it wasn't just a trophy, that we're using all the meat, that we're using the soap, we're building the soaps with the fat. Like, the whole animal that can be used is being used. It's not just a trophy. There's a whole world out there that is into the bear. Bears are cuddly. Bears, you got to save the bears. Again, I'm all for everyone having their opinion, but I tell those people, I don't think, maybe they are listening, maybe they aren't. If you are, have a conversation with have a conversation with one of your hunter friends, or go and rent a house in bear territory and
Come
tell
stay at
me.
my house. Come stay at
Yeah,
my
there
house
you go.
during the friggin'
And
spring
deal with
bat.
them, and deal with them on a daily basis, and tell me that the population now getting out of control. We can shoot one bear during the season. I had 24 cubs on 4 baits. That's absurd.
That's nuts. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wild.
And the new rules are ridiculous because now they made it. I'm not one to want to shoot a cub, but now you can't shoot any cubs, and you can't shoot sows that have cubs. So now we're just protecting the factory, and they're just going to keep making babies.
Right.
Again, I don't want to shoot cubs or the sows necessarily that have cubs, but now that you made it a rule, now they turn it and say, "Oh, now it's a what do you call it? It's a trophy hunt." Well, you turned it into one
Right.
by changing your rules.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's always going to be that side of it. Hopefully, people get educated on it. I know New York has a bear hunt, and people don't seem to be bothered by New York having a bear hunt.
Like it opens in like September 1st and goes for like 2 weeks, and you could shoot it with. I think I read one. I think one of the years it was like you could shoot it with anything, like a handgun, like a bow, gun, and literally anything you wanted. It was like just like 2 weeks, and you could shoot whatever you want. Nobody cared.
But you drive 45 minutes. It's a problem.
Now it's a huge problem. Exactly.
Makes no sense.
I doubt any bears cross the border there either. Right?
Yeah.
No, never. No, they can't. They know the lines.
Brian, one thing before we move on, Brian, to your point about the move into bear country, I worked with a lady that had this like dream house in the mountains. She had a cabin in the mountains of North Carolina.
Yeah.
She was showing me all the pictures of it. It was just absolutely incredible. And I asked her, "Why did you move?" And she goes, "'Cause of the bears." She was like, "Our life was hell because of the bears." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" She's like, "No, I'm not kidding you." Like it was like constant.
People don't realize it. Again, I shot this bear in Morris County. That's all as far as we'll go with it. But in a very affluent area, I would be knocking on doors in these McMansions and little mansions that are in there, and people will come to the door. "Oh yeah, oh no, you could be on my property. You please kill the bears, please, please."
Yeah.
Yeah, people just don't realize
these are probably people that would not have had that opinion had they not dealt with the constant presence of bears.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's people just unfortunately put an opinion onto a subject that is based on emotion instead of actual context that they live in. So people that are having an opinion.
Seems to be the culture of today's day and age. It's just everything's a big emotional, circle jerk. I don't say
it's
like
true.
that.
No,
but
it's true.
It really
People
is.
Don't think. They just react by their emotions.
It's like
actually.
You like science and data until it says we got too many bears. We got to remove them off the landscape, and then everyone's like, "Oh!" and they go crazy. There's like, I drive down 23 a couple times a week, and you got bear. You got the billboard with the bear with the tear coming down its eye. I'm like, get the hell out of here, bro.
I get why somebody wouldn't want to personally kill a bear, right? It's an interesting animal. It's a cute animal.
It's perfectly fine that you don't. That they don't want to actually
shoot it. No, it's
not. But telling someone that what they want to do that's illegal is wrong, or you're a piece of
shit. I mean, it's backed. It's backed by conservation.
Correct.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And the thing okay, so we're still on the subject of backlash. I want to know from you, because we get this, in our circle and actually starting the podcast, right, Aaron? We've seen some hunters come out of the woodwork and get a little crazy and stuff like that. So like, have you got any kickback from other hunters?
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I hunt deer and this is whatever, like tell us about that. Have you got any of that?
I got a lot of messages from the hunting community, actually, from people that were like, "Oh, that's, it's a senior bear. It's a special bear. You should have let that one walk and kill something else." I'm like, I didn't understand it. Again, I'm all for everybody having their own opinion. I'm big on it. I'm big into having conversations with people, thinking maybe we can learn from everybody as long as it's an intelligent conversation. But it didn't make sense to me, kind of what they were saying. I did get a lot of stupid stuff where like there's all kinds of rumors that I shot it at night. I shot it over bait and all that stuff, which was all shut down because I have pictures of it coming off the bait that I wasn't over, that you can't even see out through it because there's so much canopy. There's no way I could be above it. But anyway, I have pictures of it alive at 6:52 past legal time. Like all this stuff came out afterwards that shut down, and that all came from the hunting community, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I think it's just part of it. It's always going to happen. People are always going to have those stories or rumors, but it got knocked down pretty quick.
Haters,
jealousy. I don't know what it is. Uneducated, some of it.
Yeah, possible.
Yeah, and the big thing that we harp on in the show is a lot of these people, like bird hunters and even whitetail hunters and stuff like that. They like they think they're holier than thou. I'd put an arrow through a deer, but I would never tree a bear with dogs and shoot it. Like that's unethical. Like
I get it.
How is that unethical? It's literally the same thing. You're just using a different method of getting it. And the whole bait idea, I think that the whole thing of being away from the bait is BS. Mm-hmm. I think you should be able to sit right over it.
I completely agree with you. It would be more ethical if you could, because you have an animal that is perfectly still. You can set your bait up to have the perfect broadside or slightly quartering away shot for a clean, ethical kill.
Correct.
Try to have that conversation with someone who goes, "Oh, bait's terrible." I'm like, you're missing my point. You're missing my point.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, they don't know that there's 24 cubs coming in, and you're sitting there watching them, and then when the one that you choose comes in,
right.
I mean, imagine if a medium sized, cub or a sow, and the cubs are not directly with her, is cruising through the woods through that little hole that you saw.
That's it.
During season, you draw back. Oh shoot, she had cubs with her. I didn't even see them. I only had one shooting lane.
I'm sure it happens all the time.
The bear thing, the dog thing, and the bait thing seems to get people riled up, but it's like it just makes so much logical sense that it would be so much more ethical to do it that way.
Even New Jersey 5 or 6 years ago, before they 3 years ago before they switched to these rules, you could bait, but you had to be on the ground.
Right? Yeah, I remember that.
That was another one that made no sense. Like, what?
yeah. Let's put you on the ground for some reason.
Let's put you on the ground, make you shoot horizontal, put you on the ground next to the bear, not be in an elevated stand for a proper exit, for proper blood trail. So you're gonna trail a 500-pound animal. It makes no sense. Jersey's gets in its own way a lot.
They do, but at least the season is open and it's not closed like it was for a while.
Very true. Very true. So I'm very happy that it is.
Now, okay. Sponsors are listening. What were you shooting?
I was shooting. Bow was my Hoyt Vector Turbo, which is an older bow, and it was a compound bow. It's an older bow. It's about 10 years old, I want to say. I've tried all the new ones. I shoot them all the time. That's my baby.
Tricon right here. Tricon.
There you go.
About 15 years old right there.
That's it.
Hoyt only.
Yeah, there you go. So I 350 feet per second bow. They're not getting much faster these days. It's super quiet. It gets the job done. I've shot, over 100 deer with it, elk, bear. I love it. Arrows, that's kind of where it changes the game a little bit. I shoot a really heavy setup, a 535 grain Victory Extortion shaft with a 2.0 Sever broadhead, and it hammers anything I hit with it.
2.0 Sever. I'm not familiar with that. I'm assuming it's a fixed blade.
No, it is an expandable.
You're using the expandable on bears? That's crazy. I hunt bears, but I just think fixed blade penetration.
No, 535 grains. It's pretty heavy, man. It's a stainless steel ribbon arrow that hits like a hammer. Blew through a bull elk at 40 yards and stuck in a. Once I saw it do that, I'm like, it's not too much I can do. And again, this bear was massive, and it's still a 2-inch cutting. I almost got full pass through. I got it to the fletching. I think, and I know I caught the rib a little bit. If I didn't catch rib, I definitely would have gotten a full pass through.
Okay. Yeah. Now, stupid question, but I'm sure you are. Are you switching your setup for whitetail?
No.
Same setup and everything.
I don't switch for anything. I shoot everything always with that setup. I started 5 years ago with it. Anything I've ever shot dies pretty damn close to in sight. Again, deer, elk, bear. A lot of guys, and it's all personal. A lot of guys go to really light arrows, especially for whitetail hunting. They want to shoot farther. My buddy who's out west and I go out for elk hunting, he told me, he's like, listen, we're going to be shooting farther distances. I was like, I shoot a single pin, that's on a dial, right? So I don't mind ranging 2, 3, 4 times to have that kinetic energy of that 535 grain setup versus having a lighter arrow. I used to shoot a much lighter arrow, probably in the 415 range, 400 range. And I was having a lot of them snap on me, a lot of break. And I just didn't like it. Since I switched, I don't have any break. And I have almost get clean pass-throughs every single time. And you just have to range. The biggest difference is having those pin gaps. They that's where people are going to go wrong. If you're going to have a heavy setup, your pin gaps are going to get bigger. You just have to know your yardages, right? That's the only difference.
Yeah. My brother runs a single pin with the adjustable dial. For me, I like just 3 pins.
Great.
25, 35, 45 or 40. I usually put it back at 40. I don't usually show more than 40. And I like it just for the ease of it.
It's super easy. You're 100% right.
My brother likes to adjust, and he's in his saddle hanging, with his shoes off. I'm like, come on, bro. All QU gear, all QU. I'm like, come on, bro.
I have not dove into the saddle game yet. We do a lot of filming, and it's not that it's impossible with a saddle. It totally is. Guys do it all over the country. But it's just easier when I run a 2-man sets and stuff. We have hang-ons and I got some climbers and all that stuff. I will probably dive into a saddle setup within the next year or two. I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
But when I went to the heavier setup, I had started having to shoot a little farther for some deer that I was chasing, some good bucks, hadn't set up on the edge of a swamp or whatever. And I was shooting 40, 50, 60 yards. I needed some oomph down range. And biggest thing is it gave me confidence. I was knocking those animals down in sight.
Yeah.
I have confidence with it. Whatever you use, and if you have confidence in the woods, that's a no-brainer. Use it. Whatever gives you confidence.
Right. Yeah. I just think like like the saddle guys, everyone busts their chops. It's just kind of I feel like it's just like a fad to hang with a harness up your butt, just like hanging there. I'm like, dude, just get a summit tree stand, bro, and just climb that sucker.
I mean, listen, I get it. I have 2 buddies that do it, and I bust their chops because they're like, now it's like saddle or nothing. Like it's gotta be like they love it. It's a cult,
right? Yeah, it's a cult.
It's a cult. They're great hunters, and they pack in. They go light, and I can appreciate it for that concept. It's like anything else. It's got its place. You want to use it, great. You can bust my chops about whatever you want. I'm going to bust yours about a saddle, and the world goes round, right?
Yeah, right. No, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, and my brother loves it, and he was, just a climber stand, like most people, and now he loves the saddle. It's like he's all about it now.
A lot of guys like it, man. Like I said, I will probably buy a setup here in the next year or two and give it a shot, and maybe I'll keep it. Maybe I'll sell it the next day. I don't know. I haven't dove into it yet. Yeah. I will try anything once. I get the concept. Luckily enough, I pick up some good properties. If I have to hike in out west or something like that, we're not hunting out of stands. If we're going out west for whitetail, and we pick up some, private public land, I might try it that way. That makes perfect sense. If you got to go hike in 2 miles, 3 miles, we'll try it. I've done it with climbers. I have no problem with it. I use a lone wolf hand climber. It's light enough, but whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, whatever gets the job done.
That's it.
Ryan, I got a question for you.
Yeah,
How do you go? You got any advice about getting permission on properties?
Yeah. So my biggest thing on that is plan it before you just go knock on someone's door. So a couple things like I'll look at a property that I'm trying to get, and I'll try and determine if, where I'm seeing trucks there, when I'm not seeing trucks there, what time of the day it is, what's of the weekend. That's my first thing. Like, when am I seeing people there? When's my best shot? Number 1. Number 2, don't go over there, with looking like a schlub. That's another thing. Go over there, look a little bit professional, look over there. I also have business cards that I made up, hunting business cards that have insurance information on them, all my personal information, permission statement that they can just sign and hand me back the card. Literally, when I show people that card and talk to them, in somewhat decent manner, and I show up not looking like an idiot, it goes pretty well. You're always going to get no's, but a lot of times you can separate yourself from someone that just walks up to their, hey, can I go in your backyard and shoot deer? Like, that's not what we're looking to do. Set it up a little bit. Don't just wing it. Kind of plan out your attack a little bit. Don't show up at 6:00 on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening when they're about to sit down for dinner, right? It's simple little stupid things that a lot of people might overlook. It might be easy for you to go there. That might be your time off, but you show up to a house and there's a family there and they're sitting down for dinner and you're knocking on the door, interrupting them to ask them about hunting. Probably not the best time. Show up at 1:00 on a Saturday afternoon when the guy's blowing his leaves. He'll take 5 minutes and talk to you. Little things like that.
It's a great question. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It can be a tough sell, especially if you're discharging a firearm.
It definitely can be a tough sell. Again, making yourself different than everybody else. Talking about, I have insurance. I always talk about having the insurance. It goes over a long way with a lot of people. There's a bunch of them out there. The Sportsman Alliance is one of them, and there's a private one that I have that we just got. Oh my God, I don't even have the paperwork yet. We just picked it up for another piece of property. I'll get you the name. But having anything and having the numbers to show it and some paperwork to show that you're covered for $1 million or whatever you're covered for gives them a nice little warm and fuzzy instead of just showing up and saying, hey, can I hunt in your backyard? I live down the block, but whatever. That's just,
So what does that cover? What is
depending on the Sportsman Alliance covers the hunter. There are private land insurance ones that you can pick up to add like whatever it is, $40 or $30 per piece of property, and that will cover each landowner. There's a whole bunch of them out there if you Google them. Those are the ones that really set you apart because a lot of people have the Sportsman Alliance, which is great. It's better than nothing. Go get it. It's like $35 for the year, whatever it is. They're a great organization. $40. It's awesome. The other ones are a little bit different where you have to go get their name put on, their information for the property, the block number, all that stuff gets put on a piece of paper. And again, it's an extra $40, but if you're picking up a 200-acre patch or if you're picking up a 30-acre patch that's got a 900-pound bear on it, well, $40 is worth it, right?
Yeah.
So just, again, it's separating yourself from everybody else. Little things. I picked up property just by going, hey, listen, sir, I see that your property's here. I'm a local hunter. Your property's not posted. I'll have custom signs made up for you with all your information on it that are made of high density plastic. They're going to be around for longer than I'm going to be around. I will do your entire property. And if you give me permission for this, or if, we want to talk about compensation, or you want to talk about getting a deer, you need some work on the property, whatever he needs, whatever he wants, that posted sign thing usually goes a long way with a lot of people that have a big piece of property, don't want to post it. And in New Jersey, if it's not posted, it's kind of a gray area of hunting, which a lot of people exploit, but it helps get your foot in the door and have that conversation. But having that insurance and not looking like an idiot is like half the battle. I see people that show up all the time, go knock on a door. And I have some friends that are like, I'm like, dude, you did not just go knock on that door looking like that. Are you serious? Like, you got to know, right? She's like, yeah, she slammed the door in my face. I'm like, well, I mean, I don't even want to talk to you.
Dude, that's such like a huge pro tip for people. I didn't even know that. I personally didn't even know there was such thing of that. And on that same exact note, flew my birds, ran my dogs today, chased some rabbits, leave the spot, drive down the cul-de-sac. Cop pulls me over. He was waiting for me. Pulls me over. First of all, he says, you have an Instagram, don't you? And I said, I sure do. He goes, yeah, okay. He's all right. I follow you. And he says, okay, so the issue is you cannot go back to that piece of property again. And I said, okay, why not? And I pulled my phone out. I don't use OnX. I use Basemap. And I said, it says the town of X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And he goes, it's not technically the town of XYZ. It's leased out to a pharmaceutical company. And somebody was bow hunting back there, or deer hunting. I think he just said deer hunting back there.
Yeah.
Hurt themselves. They're in a giant legal battle right now, trying to sue the town because this moron fell out of his tree stand, tripped and stubbed his toe, whatever the hell he did.
Yep.
And he was suing.
He's suing the town because his dumbass hurt himself.
That's pathetic.
That's usually how it goes.
Yep, always. Some moron talks to their disgusting, greedy lawyer and then ruins it for everybody else. So he's like, he goes, I am literally supposed to arrest you right now. I said, why? It's like
can't arrest you.
No, he said back at the station they have pre-made slips for that property. All you got to do is add the person's name. That's how serious they are.
Is it posted?
It is in certain sections.
No, if it's not posted fully within 1/10 of a mile,
it's New York.
New York. All right, then I don't know.
It's New York.
I don't know. I don't know the rules of New York.
Yeah, and the cop was super cool, and I dealt with him on another situation on a HOA thing where the scumbag from New York City went to his lake house and didn't like the fact that I was walking my dog, and called 5 cops to come, and they just were like, yeah, this guy, just
he's fine. Yeah,
he's like, just you're fine, just whatever. But so I lost. So basically, essentially, he's like, and we're watching the property now. He goes, I love what you do. There's literally nothing wrong with what you're doing.
Right.
You're not hurting anybody. You're not shooting anything. You're just flying your birds, catching rabbits and squirrels. But he's like, if another cop catches you, you'll be arrested. Your dogs and your bird are going to go to freaking animal control. You're going to have to go pick them up. He goes, I'm just telling you right now, you just do not come back here. And I'm like, just because of, and I said this to the cop. I said, just because of one idiot. He goes,
always.
Just like that. He goes, just like that, one idiot.
That's it.
So I think that insurance policy is great. I'm going to look into that because I think
it works
for us falconers and other even small game hunters. It'd be great to be able to show them something like I'm covered. If I fall in something, hurt myself,
Yep.
I got my own insurance. I'm good to go.
And it's the coverage for yourself and the coverage for the landowner is huge. And it's usually separate, and you can add multiple pieces of property per each contract and so forth, and it gives them a real nice warm and fuzzy, and they're just like, hey, great, have a blast, do your thing.
Why not? I mean,
yeah, it's for $40 or $30 or whatever it is. I think it's $40 per piece of property. Again, I've picked up multiple pieces of property just having that conversation. I was explaining it to Aaron. I have a business card that I made up that's got it's just a hunting business card. It's got all my personal information on it. It's got my insurance information on it. It's got a permission slip built into it. So you can just sign it. They can just hand me back the card or they can keep it, whatever they want. But that starts the conversation. How many guys walk up to a house and have a perfectly laminated, beautiful business card hand? Hey, this is my hunting business card. It's got all my personal information, my address, my phone numbers, anything you need to get a hold of me is right here, including my insurance information. And they're like, what? Insurance? What do you mean insurance? And then that opens a door and boom, we're good.
Because that's what's going through their mind while you're talking to them.
That's it. And that's separating yourself and you're not showing up like an idiot in joggers and flip flops and just show up and don't show up at 6 o'clock on a Sunday. Like I was saying, don't show up at 6 o'clock on a Saturday when they're sitting down to dinner. Like just common sense stuff that you give yourself a leverage to have get that yes. You're gonna knock on 10 doors, maybe you get 2. But if you walk up like an idiot, you might only get 1. But that second one could be awesome, man. Could be your honey hole for the next 10 years.
Just like going out meeting women.
That's it.
Just got to keep trying.
That's it.
I'm a happily married man, but you got to keep trying. You always got to keep trying. Not anymore. Believe me. I mean, look at me, for God's sake.
What? You're beautiful.
I'm a handsome devil.
One of the things that I run into down here is competition from other hunters because hunting is still a big thing down here.
It's big up here, man.
Like
it's big.
Every landowner's grandson, nephew, whatever, hunts deer on the property twice a year, and that means you can never step foot there.
Right. Where are you?
North Carolina,
right. Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with it myself. I've dealt with it, I've gotten myself into some properties through filming where I'm like, oh yeah, no, people are hunting. That's great. You got all my information. I'm, we're doing a big thing with filming and I make a bunch of videos and now we're going to do something else with a YouTube channel. And I start talking about, I'm like, if your nephew or your son or your cousin or whatever, who's ever hunting gets on some good deer, give me a call, I'll come out and film it. Go out and I film them a little bit. And then all of a sudden we get the wheels spinning a little bit and we get the conversation going. Or another big thing we do is predator hunting. A lot of guys like, if you go knock on the door about deer hunting, door slams right away. Hey, I'm not here about deer. Hey, can I come in and kill some coyotes?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely come and do that. All right. So we'll take them out the one night. We have some beers, we shoot some coyotes. We had a good night. All right, cool. Let's do it a couple more times. Hey, all right. Hey, man, we only hunt deer like twice a year. Why don't you come up?
Yeah. There you go.
That's it. Yeah. There's definitely more than one way to skin a cat. So you just got to find whatever that little Achilles heel is to get you in the door.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, predator hunting is a huge thing that we love to talk about on the show because it's so like taboo for some reason. So you do a lot of that. And so you do a lot of filming. So how do you have time for a regular job with all this stuff?
I'm in sales and it's a blessing. So it's, like hunting, I eat what I kill and I do the same thing with sales. So I just got to make sure I make my numbers and I'm good to go. And I am my own boss. So it's nice.
Guy's an animal out here, just freaking knocking them down, closing deals and slaying bears, man.
Trying. But yeah, but the predator hunting is, it's a big thing. We do a lot of it. We chase bobcats, we chase yotes, foxes, anything we can really chase them. Basically, once January comes, the end of January, even though Jersey, you could hunt until February for deer, we're pretty much done. And then we just transition into predators once duck is over. We do a lot of waterfowl hunting with the dogs and stuff like that. So the predators fun.
Yeah, you mentioned the beginning of the show with the dogs. You have an outfitting business essentially, right?
No, not outfitting. So we're just a production company. We're not doing hunts. We're just going to be filming, doing a YouTube channel. We got the social medias up right now. And we're going to be launching the YouTube channel shortly. We're doing a bunch of footage right now and that'll be up. It's not outfitting. After I shot that bear, I can't tell you how many calls I got. What do you charge?
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm not taking anybody out. I'm not doing that. I mean, I got my buddies and all that stuff, but no, I'm not outfitting. People have been knocking down the door, not doing it. Like you're talking about spots, not doing it.
No temptation.
Nobody would pay what that's worth. The amount of work that you put into getting that bear,
not here. if you could go, out west and you get big tracts of land and all that stuff, that's different. To hunt New Jersey the way we hunt it and having the properties that you got to pick up and you got to constantly be changing and picking up new properties. I guess guys do it. I hear guys do it. I've never heard anyone really successful at it. The fishing guides do a great job. Different ball game.
Yeah.
Hunting, I know some guys that run some bear hunts and it's kind of a joke. And I know some guys that went, they went with them and then they called me back. Like that was a complete waste of time. And I put some buddies on some good bears this year. My buddy shot a nice almost 550 and we saved a couple more big ones for next year. But you guys saw I was on I wasn't on, but Joe Rogan and Luke and all them talked about and stuff. And then I found out afterwards that he's looking to come out. So hopefully we'll hook up and get him on a bear. That'd be great.
Who, Joe or the other guy or the
Joe?
Joe wants to come out.
Yeah, I know. He's talked to a buddy of mine in regards to the hunts for years, and now he's like, why? He's like, I didn't know you were shooting that, animals like that. So hopefully we'll see if he comes out or whatever. People don't realize what we have in Jersey, which is great. We don't have any over there.
No, stay in your little the thing that sucks is that rifle season or shotgun in Jersey, it opens for 6 days and it's a literal freak show circus.
100% agree. That buck week, as they call it, right, is just nuts. The guys are out with the clubs. Again, legal hunting means I'm all for. So in New Jersey is big, especially South Jersey, for the drives. You get buses, huge yellow buses, which you probably know, filled with 50, 60, 70 guys. Yeah, and they will go hit a state park or a state land and push it. Again, perfectly legal. I have no problem with it. However, it's something that people that are on stand or people at the time that are not doing it have to deal with because you'll be on state land and you'll just see the Orange Army coming through and you ain't going to see anything for a couple days. It's something you got to live with. It is what it is. But yes, there is also permit shotgun, which is another part of the, after 6 day, you have some more days that actually you can use the shotgun or the muzzle loader and all that stuff. But most of the hunters live for that buck week. It's kind of a tradition. Again, I'm all for it. I hate not being a part of I don't like talking about anything that's legal in a negative way. It's legal, have fun, go do what you got to do. Yeah. The only thing I hate about it is sometimes those drives make their way onto private property, and I frown upon that. Like, go do your thing wherever you think you have it, wherever permission or your state land. Just stay the hell off other people's property. Yeah,
it's annoying. It's a pain in the neck. You get a spot, like you said, like everything that went into that.
Yep.
And then you just see like 20 guys walking through the woods.
Yep, 100%. A lot of guys now, even early season, the crossbows, again, there's a place for them. We could have a podcast on ourselves with that conversation, but they're driving with the crossbows now. That's a big thing. It's huge now. Yeah. Huge. Guys are out and, hey, again, it's legal. Whatever. It's just, you pick up a piece of property and 6 guys come pushing through with crossbows. You're like, come on. It's September.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it's your cup of tea.
It is not my cup of tea, but anyone can drink it if they want.
Yeah. There you go. Fair enough. So you do a lot of filming. So it's like a side gig for you. So people are hiring you to come film hunts, or it's just all for yourself and your buddies?
All for myself and my buddies. We got hooked up with some people in the industry that kind of have been mentoring me a little bit, and hooked up with Tom Petrie, who's a big filming guy. He does some of the bigger shows all over the Sportsman channel and the Outdoor channel and stuff like that. He's got a program called Film the Hunt and in his school and all that stuff. And I fell in love with filming about 7 or 8 years ago. And this last year, through some sponsorships and stuff like that, dumped in about $15,000 to get all the top end gear to do production filming. And I just kind of went all balls out with it and having a blast with it. It's hard. It's a pain in the ass. It really is. And my friends are all like, "Oh my God, we got to be there 20 minutes early so Melvin could set up his freaking cameras." And then all of a sudden we kill something and I put a video together. I sent it. They're like, that was pretty badass.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so shut up.
You got any interest in filming a falconry hunt? I know a guy up near you.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I know nothing about it, but we can definitely set something up, man. That is so cool. I've never seen it. I've never seen it in person. I've seen a bunch of videos and it looks badass.
Yeah, I'll take you on a hunt anytime you want, man. Just let me know. I'm out cool. almost every day after work or on Saturdays. Amazing. So no, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, we're probably not killing as much as guys with shotguns and beagles, but I mean, I took almost 100 rabbits like last year with my bird.
That's
Just
so cool.
one bird and 2 little dogs.
That's awesome, man.
Popping them out of holes. So yeah, we get it done.
So cool. That's cool.
We can hang. You know,
that's pretty neat, man. That's pretty. There's a lot that goes into that. I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to just get a shotgun and go have some fun. Yeah, it's a lot, but it is more rewarding. And then I had a point, our last episode previous to you that we interviewed a woman that's Teddy Moritz, who's very well known in the hound community and sight hounds. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, I said, how many of those rabbits today do you think we could have shot? And she used to rabbit hunt with her dad and stuff. So she's a good shot. She's like, oh, we could have got a couple. And in my mind, I was asking her the question for her to say, well, probably none, because they were just running in the, in the cat briar and stuff. And the dogs are pushing them out. And then the bird comes from the top, drops through, finds an opening, catches it.
Okay.
But some of the hunts we go on, like you don't even see the rabbit for the entire hunt until you hear the squeal.
Screech. Yeah. That's amazing.
And it's just like, boom, like sometimes it's even more, cool. It comes in more handy than a gun would.
Than a gun. That's pretty cool, man. That is neat. So, I would love to see that.
Yeah. Anytime you want, if you want to film, you can. It's tricky business. It's definitely tricky business.
It's fast, right?
It's fast. It moves. The bird sees something and just whips across, and we're running, and then and then you get there, and that's why I use a GoPro, because I can just flick it on while I'm running, and then
just go.
Just go and look and just help in whatever way I can.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Squirrel hawking's easier to video.
I think so, yeah, because it's above you and you can kind of watch and smack them onto the side of the tree. They fall down. She chases it to the ground. Yeah, it's fun. It's if you're an outdoorsman, you'd enjoy
it. That sounds cool, man. Cool.
Aaron, what direction you want to go? I think we could go whitetail, predator, or waterfowl. This guy's got everything over here.
It's your call, man. I'm good with whatever.
What tickles your fancy more? What's your favorite, other than killing monster record-breaking bears?
So I'm probably I love chasing whitetail and I love waterfowl. They're pretty close. We do a lot of waterfowl because I'm big into the dog training.
Yeah.
But they're pretty close. Maybe waterfowl 60 and deer 40. Put it that way.
Sorry, I've got a question. Just in general. So you're an avid outdoorsman. You mentioned a little bit about taking elk with a bow. Mm-hmm. Tell us, and you're into waterfowl. Have you done any traveled to, let's say, Alaska to hunt waterfowl or anything like that?
Not yet. I haven't gone to Alaska. Did elk out in Wyoming, hopefully doing some sheep and moose out that way too, but have not been to Alaska. Been to Canada, but have never made it to Alaska. Definitely on the list. Definitely will hit to Alaska to get the, oh my God, what is that bird? There's
eider.
Eider. We're going to go on. That's the king eider. But we're going for an eider hunt here in Rhode Island in a couple months. But the blue, oh my God, my friends are going to make fun of me when they see this. It's the harlequin duck, which is what everyone goes. And the emperor goose. The emperor goose is there's I don't even know, 50 tags a year or whatever, something stupid.
Right.
Those two are the big Alaskan birds that everyone goes out there for. Those are the really top ones that are for waterfowls. If you get an emperor goose, most guys don't ever get the tag. You get an emperor goose, that's you're 250, whitetail.
Right. Why they only give 50? Because of the population or whatever?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I think that's one of the only places they're found. The harlequins we actually have in New Jersey. Not a very big population, but we're not allowed to shoot them. But they're a really pretty duck. But that's what a lot of guys go to Alaska for. In Alaska, they're like rats. They're like, you want to shoot them? All right, whatever. I don't care.
That's
which
cool.
is ridiculous. But you're going to go spend $8,000 for a hunt up there to go shoot this little blue bird that they could care less about. But whatever. It's all part of it, right? Have some fun.
Yeah.
It's a cool hunt. You hunt in the rocks and the jetties, and they're really neat little ducks. But yeah, we do a lot of waterfowl. We're pretty addicted to it. Once the season kicks in here in about 2 weeks, we're out constantly. My crew of guys were out. So we have a good network of guys that are finding birds all over the state. We got boats, we got Argos, we got all the tools.
Got Argos.
We got some stuff.
Got some toys. Jeez,
I
I dream of an Argo. All right, so talk us through that. So you say finding birds all over the state, jump shooting, setting up calls, blinds.
No jump shooting. Not for any other reason than you can't really film it, and it doesn't last. Like if you're going to jump shoot, yeah, you might knock down a couple birds, but if you're going to go set up for a day of like duck hunting on a marsh or a salt marsh, or you're going to be in the timber or whatever it is, you're not going to get too much jump shooting. We're out there, scouting birds, finding feeds, trying to set up for the next day's hunt, just like kind of like pretty much like outfitters. Pretty much the network of guys is pretty extensive in the state. The big waterfowl guys all talk where the birds are going, how they're moving, where they're feeding, what the water levels are, all that crazy stuff. But it's it's an everyday thing, guys. Just like deer hunting, it's 90% scouting and 10% hunting. Waterfowl is the same thing. 90% find the birds, and then you find the birds, but they're moving. You can't just find the birds on Tuesday and hunt on Friday. That doesn't work. You have to find them on Tuesday and hunt Wednesday.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But there is situations like you mentioned, feed, where they will frequent a spot.
Yes,
for whatever reason.
That is true. For a food quantity in there or whatever it is, if you can find a big enough feed, especially like goose hunting, if you find a field that has, just got freshly cut, a cornfield or something like, yeah, you're going to have geese in there for 2 weeks. Like, yes, 100%. That kind of concept for sure. When the water levels and all that stuff in Jersey, you get the later season, you get the migrations that come down in waves out of Canada. Yeah. You got to find those birds because they're fresh birds. They're not from the area, so they don't necessarily know where all the holes are. So they're going to jump around and find those feeds when they can. But that's great. That's what moves them around. But you got to go find them every day, because you go shoot them in one timber hole one day, that hole's blew out. You're done for the day. Now you got to go. You're done with your hunt at 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning. Now we got to go scout for 3 hours to go find birds for tomorrow.
Yeah, right. And then the decoys help because they're looking for places to feed. The decoys are telling them there's somewhere to feed. Correct. They come in to check it out, and boom, boom, bam.
That's it, man. And we do all the filming and running the dogs and the stuff. And it's a whole crew, and it's a blast. It's a good time, man.
That sounds like a freaking blast. But you don't have the channel up yet.
No, it's not up there. I'm not putting it up until all the stuff is all pretty and looks nice. So we're just doing all the editing. I'm doing a whole bunch of production stuff with intros and all stuff, making it so it's nice. We have a lot of hunts. There's some hunts on my private page that you'll see that are getting re-edited. If you go on my private Facebook stuff, a lot of turkey hunts, some deer hunts, some waterfowl, a little small stuff. But it's all the new stuff, all the big stuff, all the new camera gear is all being done. It'll be launched in a month or two, and then we'll have some nice, fresh stuff up there. That'll be all perfect. Everyone's like, just put it up. Just put it up. I'm like, no. Well, it's got to be perfect.
Yeah. It's YouTube is one of the only platforms where you can really actually make some good money if you did do well. And waterfowl, I've noticed, because so with what I do with the bird, the particular species of bird that I use, I kill waterfowl, small game.
Wow.
And so I noticed that, like, when I have, like we were talking about, feed locations. So I have a whole circuit that I run with my bird.
Sure.
And I know this bend in this stream, for whatever reason, they always are in there.
Yep.
If I sneak up right in the spot, flush them, yell, they blow off, bird blows off my glove, smokes them in the air, comes down, grab it. If I post that, like, the waterfowl people go crazy.
Really?
Like,
why?
Waterfowl, no, not in a good way. Like, mostly in a good way.
Good.
Like, it just blows up. Like,
that's awesome.
Like, I went on like 5 podcasts in a row because my bird caught a Drake mallard in a swamp.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Held it in the swamp for 30, 40 minutes before I got out to her. I had to run back to my truck, get my waders, go out there.
Wow.
And then when I got onto the island, it was like a beaver, where the beavers, it was
beaver hut. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, And I was up on that, flip my lure. And she, instead of just leaving the duck and swimming back, she brought the duck back to me.
That's so cool.
And I just traded her off, which is a falconry technique where that's how you can just catch multiples throughout the day. You just trade them off, give them a reward. They get their reward. Boom. At the end of the day, they always get a big reward.
Okay.
And they know that's coming.
Okay.
But like waterfowl hunting is epic.
Yeah.
Like, people love it.
That's so cool.
There's a lot of it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, dude. If you post that page, you'll I don't even I don't even do, like, I'm not even, like, I don't really gun hunt waterfowl. I have fun with my birds. I go to the salt marshes and down by outside of Atlantic City and essentially jump shoot black ducks and stuff with my goshawk, and she catches them. But it's just like waterfowl is just a super cool. They're super cool prey, number one.
Yeah.
And it's also like a mixed bag, right? Because it's almost like Christmas, because you don't know what's coming in necessarily.
You don't know.
If you put the decoys out, you can,
Yeah, you can kind
Right.
of plan a little bit for the area and the food and all stuff, but there's always a surprise. More than likely, something's coming
Right.
by. We see it all the time. Guys will freak out. Pintails are dropping in, or shovelers or whatever we're seeing, and that one guy pops one, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah!" And
Yeah.
it's fun. It's a great.
Yeah.
And later in the season, when all the birds are dumping out of Canada, that's when we see some more exotics, if you will, where
Right.
and that's a lot of fun.
Exotic.
Yeah, well, the pintails and the cotton tops and all that stuff that are coming down that don't necessarily, are real residents of New Jersey. We have a lot of mallards. We have a lot of green-winged teal. We have, a insane amount of black ducks.
Yeah.
And people, from out west, when we shoot black ducks, we're like, all right, we had a good day. We shot some black ducks. And then out west, we're like, I want a black duck so bad.
Yeah.
And then then when we see the Drake pintails dump into our spread, we're sitting there, the jaws are on the floor. We're like, oh, we forgot to shoot.
Yeah.
No. It's fun to see the change.
Okay, so it might be just anecdotal from my point of view, but there was a stretch of years there where we'd catch some black ducks here and there. And then there was, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, every single slip I got was a black duck.
Yeah.
For a long period of time. Did you notice that? Were you waterfowl hunting hard like 5 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just remember I went through a period of time and I went from catching one black duck a season to catching like 20 something.
There's been a lot. So they bumped up the limit too. They used to be able to shoot one. Now we can shoot two. I still think they should come up. But yeah, the later part of our season, I mean, we are literally letting flocks of black ducks land and not shoot them.
Wow.
And scare them off the water. And we're waiting for greenheads and we're waiting for something else to come in. I can't tell you multiple mornings where the guys are like, all right, don't shoot.
That's
A,
nuts
because we might have our limits, or B, we're just like, all right, we shot our 4-man limit yesterday of black ducks. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
So,
and that's super interesting. Go ahead, Aaron. You have a question?
Yeah, but
No, I was coughing. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you said for guys that got tuberculosis over here.
No, I love the idea. Yeah. Probably caught it from you this weekend.
Yeah, I got a cough, man. I got a cough.
I love the idea of waterfowl hunting, but I've never done it.
It's an awesome sport. It is. I will say, out of all the hunting that you do, now bear hunting is brutal with baiting because you have to consistently bait and you got to be on it. I mean, again, baiting's a lot of work, but to do duck hunting well and to do it consistently well over a long period of time, it is a ton of work, and it's in the worst time of the year. And you gotta like the cold, and you gotta not mind being wet, and you gotta not mind not sleeping for about 2 months. Because you're getting up, sometimes we're up at 2:00 because we got to go out and brush in a blind for 2 hours or whatever it is in a cornfield for goose hunt that's going to last only 45 minutes, and then we got to pack up and we got to go scout, and then we got to go do it again the next day.
You ever hunted Canada geese?
Have I? Yeah. We do a lot of goose hunting. If you go on if you go take a look at Timber Life, you'll see some crazy pictures. We've had some epic freaking 50, 60 bird shoots and. Whatever it boils down to, we're chasing it if we can during the waterfowl season. Jersey should pump out their season a little bit longer. They ended a little early, in our opinion, because most of the birds don't come down. They come down with the ice line, right? So as the ice line comes down from Canada, New York, and then Jersey, we are not getting that ice line anymore. It's stalling in New York a lot. The last 5 years, we really haven't gotten it. We might get like a week or 3 days of some rough weather, and then it kind of fades out. But we usually get it in like February now, and we don't have a season.
Well,
you do.
If you're a falconer, it goes till March, which
there you go. That's badass, man. That's
which
great.
is pretty sweet. Yeah, well, we're killing 1-2 a day max. You know
that's
what I mean?
Cool. That's still cool.
We're not doing anything.
I will say, listen, I love waterfowl with a gun, but seeing a hawk or seeing a falcon grab a bird out of the air is pretty epic, man. That's pretty sweet. We have bald eagles that are all around one of our main areas, and they chase the birds like crazy, and they hunt in pairs, and it's so cool to see how they move the birds to where their buddy has to get it. It's pretty neat to watch.
So have you seen a bald eagle take a wild duck?
Oh yeah, we see it every year. We see it all the time. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They're neat, man. They chase the big ones. You'd see them chase the green-winged teals, and they never catch the green-winged teals ever.
No.
But they'll catch the mallards, and then it's so cool to watch.
So are they taking them out of the air, or are they getting them on the water?
Oh no, they're taking them out of the air. They're chasing them in the air.
That's pretty cool.
They always hunt in a pair. I know nothing about it, right? I am completely green. All I can just tell you is I've seen the pairs hunt, and you see how one stays above it and dives down, and the duck has to move a certain way, and then the other one's coming in on the horizontal and just smokes it. And it's so cool.
That is cool. If you got some of that on film with your fancy equipment,
that's the plan this year, to catch some of that. Because last year we saw it 3 times, like within like 70 yards of us, and we're all just losing our mind. Birds are landing in our spread. We're like, fuck it, we don't care.
Yeah. If you got some of that with your nice equipment, that would be something that would blow you up, like in terms of virality, and get you out and be like, oh crap, what are these guys doing?
That's pretty neat.
Bald eagles are for us falconers. They're a very dangerous thing to have in the air because of what you've seen with
nuisance.
Because they're coming after your bird, right?
It depends on their mood. It's pretty much, if they want your bird dead, there's really nothing you can do to stop. They'll fly it down. They'll kill unless your bird's in tremendous shape, which we always try to keep our birds in tremendous shape. But I mean, if a bald eagle wants your bird, it's pretty much game over.
Wow.
They'll fly it down and kill it. But yeah, man, that's so neat with the waterfowl stuff. Speaking of waterfowl, buddy of mine, good friend of the show, Ramsey Russell. You know Ramsey Russell?
I know the name. Why do I know that? I don't know him off the top of my head. No.
Okay, so he was on the Meat Eater podcast a couple times. He has a podcast called a duck season somewhere podcast.
Ramsey Russell. I gotta look. I know the name.
Dude, this guy hunts waterfowl all year round, 24/7. When season opens in Kamchatka, he's going to Kamchatka. When it opens in freaking Croatia, he goes to Croatia. He goes to Argentina.
I'm looking at it right now. Yes, I've seen this guy on the Outdoor Channel or one of the channels. He does. I saw a big hunt in Canada. I think he did.
Yeah, he goes to Canada. He goes to Saskatchewan. He'll go to Argentina. He'll go on he goes on a $1 million boat in Argentina with like chefs and bartenders, and then they get on little boats, go out, kill a whole bunch, come back, have a 5-course meal. Yeah, he's got this guy's got the life, man. But
we got a Coleman grill, and we'll heat up a sausage for it.
No, but he does a little outfitting and stuff. But he's coming up sometime midwinter, hopefully when it's nice. I'm gonna try to get him out in a hunt. And if you're around, because we're local to each other, if you wanted to join us,
I would love to, man. That's pretty.
He's a cool guy to know. Yeah, he's a cool guy to know in the waterfowl community. He's a really interesting guy.
That's amazing.
So that'd be fun. Anything else you want to touch on in terms of waterfowl before we switch to whitetail?
No, the other big part about the waterfowl is the dogs. I'm a huge dog guy. We compete with dogs all year. We keep our dogs, like you keep your falcons in shape. Our dogs have to stay in shape all year. Get ready for the duck season. So our training, our competing season is our warm up or our conditioning for the hunting season. So my friends are pretty spoiled at this point because I have my dog he's pretty great, and I'm filming. I'm barely picking up the gun anymore. I'm pretty much calling, filming, and running the dog, and they just get to shoot. They just come along for the ride. It's
nice. Cool. You're a good friend.
I love it. I enjoy. Once I got behind the camera, I just was like, and they bust my balls all the time. Like, just leave the camera at home. Just bring the gun. I'm like, guys, I'd rather do the opposite. Just shut up and just enjoy it. Like, because you get the videos are awesome. I get to run the dog. That's all I really care about. So that part of it's a huge part of it for me. But yeah, the waterfowl's it's special. But I do love to chase the deer. I'm after one right now that is getting under my skin. And but it's like they always do. The big bucks, the big bears. They have a way of just surviving and figure out things. I'm after a buck right now that is he's a nice, really good buck, and we'll see what we can knock down. But yeah, I've chased some really great deer over the years, all bow. I don't gun hunt for deer, not for any other reason, just that I love bow hunting. Got really obsessed with it, stayed with it. And there's a couple of them behind me, and there's a bunch more on the wall in front of me here. And it's that becomes an obsession itself. You get a buck in your head, like I got one right now, and my fiance hates me during the season. She's like, you got problems, but I'm like, it's good problems.
Yeah. So, how do you, on the subject of your fiance, how do you manage that?
I think she would say,
yeah, I'm looking for advice.
What it is? I think it's just picking the right one. That's kind of the game, I think.
Sorry, she's coming around. She's coming around.
I would like to say I manage it, but if she's in the other room right now. She's probably listening to me. She's probably
you
willing
got
to come in
quiet
here.
there, man.
And she was gonna,
whispering.
she was gonna turn around here and be like, "You manage what exactly?"
Yeah,
But,
I trained her well.
Yeah. No, not saying that. Definitely not a recording. But
That
no,
goes over well.
it's definitely a little bit of give and take, and she's been pretty great with this whole process
What,
of trying to get Timber Life off
You
the
give
ground.
and she lets you hug.
Yeah, she's a trooper. When I got the bear, she was like, thank God, great, happy for you, and it's over, right? I'm like, well, it's deer season now. She's like, come on.
Yeah.
I got a
But she's
question.
yeah.
I got a question about the bear, and you'd mentioned the taxidermy. You said he was at the taxidermist.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you getting done with him?
Full mount.
Yeah.
Damn,
Where you
man.
putting that in your front lawn?
Oh man, we're looking for a new house right now, and I got to make sure that basement is big enough because either him or a couch at this point.
Yeah, basement. You got to put them in the front entrance when people come in the house.
Yeah, you got to ride him for 5 feet before you can come in the house.
What
He's
what
gonna
does
be big,
something
man.
like that cost?
I haven't had the conversation yet fully, but I mean, it's. I know it's over 5,000. It's going to be probably somewhere between 5 and 8, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think it's 100% worth it.
Yeah, it's. I'm never shooting a 900-pound black bear again. It's just not happening.
I mean,
No.
It's not happening.
The natural history museum in New Jersey would probably like to have that bear. You know what I mean?
I've gotten some calls. I don't know the legalities of the conversations that I've had. So I don't know. Apparently, you're not allowed to sell certain things, whatever it may be. But I've had some people call asking me to buy it already and throw around numbers that were just mind-boggling to me. Yeah.
You can sell it after it's taxidermy. Because, right, like Bass Pro Shop and like Cabela's, they buy.
Yeah, I hear you.
They buy all kinds of stuff.
They do. Yeah. I don't know. And then I've heard people say, no, you can't sell. I don't know. I'd have to look into it. At this point, he's not going anywhere. If someone turns around and, it gets a little crazy and there's a bunch of zeros, we'll have a conversation. But right now he's planning on coming home and I'll put my 1.5-year-old son on him and we'll take some pictures.
There you go.
Hopefully another year or a year and a half from now, I'll have him back. So.
Yeah, I'd be curious I'm curious about like the skull measurements.
So we got a green score of about 22.5, which is great, but it's not going to be anywhere near world record. The world record right now that's current was actually 300 pounds less than this bear. But he had a massive, just like a bobblehead, like almost like, just like oddly, almost disfigured. His head was so big. And then, he's only 650 pounds, whatever, doesn't matter. But that's what the skull measurement, I think, is like 23 and 20. I don't know exactly off the top of my head. I know it's 23 and a half ish, something like that.
This thing's probably. What do you think? What do you think this one is?
Oh man, I don't know.
It was like 175 pound black.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I mean, it was the best meat I've ever put in my mouth.
Bear meat's amazing, and people don't realize it. They don't realize how good it is.
I don't think this one would score too good.
Might be a little shy.
Yeah, it's like a cocker spaniel or something.
I've seen some pictures of pathetic bears that people have shot. It looks like a little Australian shepherd or something.
There's no such thing. Come on, Aaron. There's no such thing.
My biggest thing with that is shoot whatever you want, but you definitely don't need to strap a cub to your hood and drive into a check station.
No.
That is like, it's kind of, you're just asking for it. You want to shoot something that's legal? You want to shoot a 76 pounder when a 75 is legal? Hey, bro, I'll help you carry it out. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But just don't be an idiot. like, it's like sometimes we hurt ourselves with some of the dumb stuff, but hey, man, they're good eating. Like, just like, really the fawns with the
that leads
spots
me. That leads me to a question. So the haters that we talked about earlier in social media, what's your stance on, I mean, obviously you're starting a hunting channel. What's your stance on sharing hunting with the wider world?
I think it's a great idea. I think it's again, doing it the right way is a big proponent of keeping it positive, moving forward. I think I don't see a negative in it because I think the right people with logic and not necessarily reacting with emotion will look at it with broad spectrum. I think people that are going to look at it with emotion are going to do it no matter what you put out there. they're going to have a negative impact or they're going to negative connotation to it no matter what it is, right? They've already made up their mind before they even hit play.
Right.
So
Right.
I can't change that. I'm not going to worry about it, but I'm going to try and put something out that's, tasteful, respects the animal. Maybe people can learn some stuff on it. We're going to try and do some stuff that's not always, we don't always win. Maybe we make some mistakes. How do we fix that mistake? And then maybe we got the animal afterwards. Trying to put some little bit of different spin on it, some real world stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there that guys are going to, a $10,000 whitetail hunt in the best property in the world, and they shoot a great deer on their third day, and everything's high fives. Listen, it's entertaining. It's cool. Is it real? Not exactly. Not for the everyday guy, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's awesome. Am I jealous? Would I like to do that for a living? Would I love to? Yes, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I think there's a little bit of a big niche out there that people could learn a little bit more. And there's a bunch of stuff like Meat Eater when they do all their videos and a lot of their hunts. It's really educational. They talk about a lot of cool stuff. And I think that's why they're so successful. They're not just, we're going to go shoot the biggest woods, the biggest deer in the biggest private farm that we can find. That's not what they do. And it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing a lot of guys can take away from.
Yeah. Have they called you?
I did an interview with Meat Eater. Yep, they put an article out for me. I have not done a podcast or anything like that with them. I did not speak to Steve. I spoke to someone else, Eli, really nice guy, but they put a cool article out. Realtree did an article. Outdoor Life did an article. I'm writing a story right now for Bowhunter Magazine, which they're going to do a whole what's the right word? A whole feature on, which will be pretty neat.
Nice.
Again, for being the largest black bear with a bow. But yeah, there's some, it's all, again, for the little bit of backlash that was, the positive side of it has been, tenfold, which has been fantastic. Got to meet some really cool people, had some great conversations like we're having tonight with some people, and hopefully educating some other people out there that maybe don't know a lot about bear hunting, realizing that's a great sport. The meat's amazing. I can't say it enough. Like you just said, Casey, it's so good.
So good.
So many times I hear people and they come back and they're like, wait, you're going to eat that? I'm like, come on over. Let me make you some sausage or whatever it is. I'm like, once you have it, my fiance is not from a hunting family. She loves black bear. It's her favorite meat now. She's like, she absolutely loves it. And like, people are just like, really? I'm like, just come over.
Yeah. Literally same exact thing with my wife. Not from a hunting background, from another country, ate black bear while we were dating at my brother's house. And she goes, what the heck is this? This is so delicious. And I'm like, that's a bear, honey.
Yeah.
That's a bear. She goes, and then she got weird at first, but now she's like emasculating me. Yep. She's like, get out there and get a friggin' bear. What are you doing? Chasing these rabbits with your filthy birds.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is great meat. I think it's hugely overlooked. Hugely overlooked.
Really? No, I have heard opinions because I have a trapper that traps my property, and they're very well known. They have the Pursuit channel doing a feature on them at the end of this month. So they'll be at my house, at my property, checking their traps. Big name people. And the mother, who's, she's like the head of the show, she said that some of the big bears, they don't taste quite as good. Can you speak to that?
I've shot a 400 before this one, and it was great.
Okay.
I've eaten some 5s and 6s, and they were great. I've had some 100s, and they were great. I have all the meat back from the butcher now. It's all vacuum sealed and labeled and looking pretty. I haven't dove into the loins yet. That'll probably be my first ones to tell me, hey, all right, difference between a backstrap on a 900-pound bear versus a 150-pound bear. Let's, we'll break it down. I don't have that answer yet, but from what came back, it looked great. I mean, it was clean and beautiful. Even my butcher was like, he's like, you did an incredible job getting that bear gutted and getting it cool, man. He goes, you didn't lose anything.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Yeah, because I've heard similar things, but I've also heard the opposite, that they do have a different flavor. Because the bear that I shot, the reason why it was so delicious is because we were hunting upstate New York, early season, like 10, 15 years ago, over a berry patch.
Oh, nice.
And this little sucker was just feeding his way on berries for however many weeks before I put a friggin' 270 right through him.
All right.
And
he was tasting good then.
Oh, he was delicious, man. It was just falling off the bone.
That's
it was
amazing.
like, couldn't tell the difference from any other delicious pot roast
red
you made.
meat.
Like,
That's amazing.
Yeah, delicious. So
that's
I'm curious. I've never eaten anything that big. My brother killed more bear than me. And it doesn't taste, to me, it doesn't taste any different, but something that big, or even 500, so I guess
again, I've had the 5s. They taste great. I have not had this one. I will definitely get back to you and let you know where we're at. If it's shoe leather or if it's, pate, I'll let you know which way we go here. but it looked phenomenal when it came in. So it was nice and red and clean. And my butcher, who's a great guy, does a ton of bears. He was like, let me say, the meat looked perfect. It was clean and it smelled. He joked to me when I dropped off the bear. He goes, you gutted it. Everything was perfect. He goes, why did it smell like fucking peanut butter? That's my language, but I'm like, because he was eating peanuts for 6 weeks. He's like, dude,
Yeah.
He's like, it smelled so good.
Maybe
like,
the fat will have a little nutty flavor to it.
Hey, man, we're gonna find out here. We'll see what it is. We'll see. But he ate good for a while. I'll tell you that much. And there were, again, a bunch of guys other beaten. That bear was not going hungry.
No.
So what did you do to keep it cool when you gutted it?
What?
Did you just gut it and get it out of there quick? Like, what was the process?
Yeah, no, we couldn't gut it where it was. The property owner asked me not to gut it. We had to take it out whole. So we took him out. Yeah, which was not.
Why didn't he want you to gut it?
He just didn't want it on his property. He didn't want me to gut it right there, close to his house and all that stuff. I was like, and I had to respect that because he was allowing me to retrieve it, first of all. So no problem. So we got it out. We gutted it. We brought it to a buddy's house. I think I sent you some pictures of it hanging, right?
Yeah.
So that's my buddy's. He's got a whole man cave that's being built with going to be a hanging room and all kinds of great stuff and a walk-in. So we got it up in there, which was a nice shaded area. Once we got that cleaned up, we go open up the chest cavity and let it air out, and it cooled off pretty quickly. It was borderline whether or not we were going to pack it with ice. Didn't get that hot in order to have to do that because it aired out pretty quick. We put some 2x4s in there and opened up the chest cavity pretty quick. But it was a matter of just getting that guts out because the big bears spoil fast. With the enzymes and all that stuff, and them being predators, they spoil fast.
Yeah,
really fast.
What do you cook in your meat? You're cooking what 160, right? Obviously.
Yeah, is it 160? I usually am at 145. I think is the. I think that's.
I think it varies. I think you can cook the trick. From what I heard and what makes logical sense is you can cook the trichinosis out from. You could cook it at 130, but if you cook it at 130 for 4 hours, it'll kill it.
Okay.
But if you cook it at 130 for a sear on the grill,
no. I don't.
Done.
Yeah, no, we're not doing anything medium. I mean, it's got to be. You can't have pink, right? It's just can't be pink. Can't be pink.
Like deer.
No, it can't be pink. I pretty much have done. We've been good. I mean, cooked a bunch of it now. Once it's just past pink, it's been pretty good. I usually have been like 145, 150, and I haven't had a problem. If it's 160, maybe I'm a little light.
No, I don't know. I don't know why that was in my head, but I thought it was 160. But.
I've always just based it on the base. You know, if it's pink, no good. As soon as that pinkness is gone, and again, you got a little fat in there, and it's there. You know, it's a little greasier of a meat, right? It's a little, which helps you along in that concept of not drying out like venison. You know, venison, you just take it off.
Yeah. You don't have to cook it.
No, but the bear is different ball game. I definitely enjoy the concept of. And the richness and the flavor and the moistness of it helps you go up to that 145 without burning it, turn to shoe leather. So
no, it's like pork, pork and beef mixed together. It just falls right off the bone.
Yeah,
fatty. The fat is delicious.
It's so good.
It doesn't coat the top of your mouth. That's the only thing about deer that bothers me is you get some of that.
The deer fat is no good, man.
Good.
It's so sticky and nasty. You can't do it.
It's like candle wax, basically.
It's like wax. Exactly right. Yeah. No, terrible. Absolutely no good. But we're looking forward to it. I'm definitely make some. When I see you guys, I'll have to bring you some because I got a lot.
Oh, I would. I don't even know if I'd cook it. I would just put it in my freezer and write record-breaking bear from 2024. Just give it to my friend. Just take it out of parties and show my friends. Yeah, dude, I want to buy some soap from that woman too. She's probably gonna freaking jack up prices up.
She doesn't sell it. She donates it.
I need some.
You can donate to her, like just donate to money, and then she'll give you some soap. But I don't even know what, you don't even have to give her anything, but I'll send you some contact information. The soap bars that she's sending me are so cool and beautiful looking.
Yeah.
And she's like, everyone loves them. She goes like, it fixes all kinds of skin problems. I'm like, and then you look it up online and people are selling bear soap for like $10, $15 for a bar. I'm like,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Nobody wants the chemicals anymore. Go figure. Nobody wants to put disgusting chemicals all over their skin that absorbs everything. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes, exactly.
Good for her. Yeah. So the whole bear is utilized.
That's
all legal.
Yep.
Beautiful situation. So how much did you sell the gallbladder for?
So that's a great conversation. That's a
guy.
conversation in itself. Actually, when we first we gutted him open, and my buddy's like, "Man," he goes, and let's be real. Everyone knows the black market, the whole conversation, right? I looked at it and I literally just popped it, and he goes, "Oh,
No.
yeah." I just popped it. I was like, "Dude," I was like, "I don't even want to have a conversation about that. Let's not even have that mental even thought. Let's pop it. Let that little gold liquid just run out and call it a day. We can't. No.
Dude, that was liquid gold. You just wasted right there. You know how many?
know.
You know how many erectile dysfunction you could have cured with that, man?
God, dude,
Or whatever the hell they use it for.
I've gotten so many jokes about it. Everybody's been like, "So what'd you do with it?" I'm like, "I did nothing with it. It's in the gut pile in the woods. We dumped it." They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Guys, I'm not playing games. We can't play. Not especially."
Some states you have to turn that in, don't you?
I heard that. Not Jersey, but I've heard that. Yeah,
North Carolina, you have to turn it in.
I believe it, man. There's a lot. There's a huge market for it out there.
Oh yeah.
There's a huge market. I mean, obviously, it's a black market, but I mean, it's a known thing. It's big out there.
Yeah. You definitely wouldn't want to play with that, especially with the situation that you're in, and obviously shooting that bear. You already knew. Are you?
Yeah.
100%. Are you anticipating, because it's only been how long since you shot it?
3. Is it 3 weeks now?
Not long, right?
Right. No. It was.
Are you anticipating an investigation of some kind just because of the fact of the spotlight of this situation?
No,
because that happens sometimes.
100%. I was lucky enough that I'm connected with Fish and Game. And again, there was some. I told you there was some, pressure from other hunters. So there were some conversations that were taking place with Fish and Game before I harvested this animal, and some people were up to speed on exactly where I was hunting, how I was hunting, what my setup was. They knew everything before it even went down. Right. And the moment it went down, they were apprised of it and all that good stuff. They knew from jump exactly how everything was handled. So again, once all that stuff came in, and again, some other hunters took videos and stuff and did all kinds of stuff of setups and all kinds of stuff that weren't, I'll even say this, I had to make some fake setups to pull attention away from my real setup, to pull the hunters away from what I was actually really doing. And they focused on that, which is exactly what I wanted. And they took videos of it and sent it in, which the people, the authorities, the people that really it only cared about, or the people that really needed to know about it, they had already known about it. I told them all about it. They were apprised of it. So it just got crashed. And the only one that really grew any legs, which was like a 2 or 3 day thing, was people saying that I shot it at night. But then I just posted the picture of him alive at 6:52 and walking off the bait, and it just went up in smoke.
Good for you. Got to cover your ass these days. Yeah, it is wild that a fellow hunter would want to make that much trouble for you and try to. Yeah, it's just it's just we deal with
our own way sometimes. Yeah,
100%, man. We had fellow falconers get raided for no reason, just because of someone that didn't like them and just called Fish and Game and said they're doing something illegal, and they just show up at their house and bang on the door and go in, and
that's terrible.
Like, everything's legal. Yeah. Thanks. And they're like, okay, don't know why we were here.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's just pure jealousy and
pure jealousy. Pure jealousy. That's what it is. It is what it is. You got to do you just do the right thing. Keep moving forward. Do you?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Man. I think that's a good place to wrap it. But I definitely want everybody to be able to follow you and find you. Yeah. And, is your YouTube channel is not launched yet?
YouTube is not up. Socials are up on Facebook and Instagram at Timber Life Outdoors. Instagram is Timber_Life_Outdoors. Facebook is just Timber Life Outdoors. Those are up and they're active, and we're posting stories and videos and all kinds of stuff. And YouTube should be up. I want to nail myself down here, but it's going to be up in a month, maybe a little more than that, with some fresh videos, some fresh hunts, and then it'll be live from that point forward, adding as we go.
I think you should get the channel locked in now before somebody else. No, I'm serious, because
I already bought the channel. I already have it. I did all that before I even talked to anyone. This was 2 months ago.
Because some scumgags, he's going to get it, like, yeah, Timber Life, that's me. That's me.
I got all that. I've trademarked everything before I even did anything. Good. Everything's all done.
I look forward to your falconry content.
Me too.
No. I would be. I think it'd be. I mean, especially, like, we don't have to do it this year, obviously, but when you get the channel up and running, it might be a cool little avenue.
I would love to do it. Love to do it, man. Yeah. That's pretty neat. That's something I would love to do. That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, man. Definitely. So, all right. So people can find you there. Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to add to the audience?
No,
we
that's
get
it.
out of
I
here.
think we covered a lot here. I really appreciate your time, guys. It was a great conversation. Hopefully we didn't bore people too much and they maybe
No.
learned some things here. But no, it was a really great time. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, man.